This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of New Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, but rocking a beautiful Toronto background behind me because, well, New Brunswick is boring and Toronto is exciting. So, plus I got too many bad memories in New Brunswick. But folks, we're not here to talk about this. Here we are, folks. It is where my guest is. It's midnight. Where I am, it's 1 a.m. here on Monday morning of the 18th of November. And folks, today we're gonna bitch. We are gonna bitch in print. We're gonna bitch about a lot of things. But folks, I've had this guy on the show before. Um, he's writing a series of books about it's a werewolf named Karen, the werewolf. Perfect name, a Karen and a werewolf. Find out whether that was accidental or not, because there's a lot of Karens in society that have these kind of traits. But nonetheless, folks, I give you Jason Bradford. How do you do, Jason?
Hello, I'm good, Greg. How are you?
Not too bad. Where's your Christmas tree
I,
lights?
you know what? I'm, I don't know if you can see it, but I am literally covered in glitter right now because
Why?
I'm putting up Christmas stuff little by little. I put some lights up today, but not on yet.
Yeah?
Not on yet. If you want to do another episode with me, it's closer to December. Perhaps I can light the background for you, but it's
Like the
nothing to look at.
background?
Yeah, nothing to look at yet. It's still in the messy stage.
Well, there's nothing to look at in my apartment, too. That's why I got this up.
You got Toronto.
I love Toronto.
So this is my
I
my fourth solo on your show and my fifth appearance total. So
yeah.
am I now a member of your five club, or do I have to do solos?
I think it's five solos, but to be honest, I don't think it really matters.
All right.
Here's how I think of it. This one here will be titled Your Fourth Interview because I know how I think if I'm looking at interviews and I'm interested in somebody, I'm like, I find that they've done such and such an interview. I go back and I listen to the first one and I listen to the second one. But if
Yeah.
the third one is with a group, I'm not going to have an indication of that. And then I get
Right.
lost.
Right. Right.
That's why I do it that way.
Right.
But technically speaking, you'd be part of the five members club. Belinda Blasky's been on here 4 times solo and once with Marilyn Ross. So I guess you could say technically, yeah.
I've had Belinda on the Terror Express. She is a sweetheart.
Yeah.
You know what
I've
I
been like,
did? I reached out to Belinda because I wanted her to write the foreword to one of my novels, but I'm new at this. I'm new at the novels, and when I reached out to her, I asked her instead of a foreword, I used the word review. Now I don't know if she got my email or not, but I did not mean review. I meant forward. But I was fortunate enough. I got Patrick Ray to write me a forward. But I may still reach out to Belinda or D Wallace. I thought would be pretty cool.
mhm.
I don't know what it would take to get either of those.
Well, there you go. Well, yeah, I am reading through this right now. It's pretty interesting. You seem to I know you sent me the material through an email or something. I didn't read
Yes,
it through this, and I'll tell you why I didn't. There's not a whole lot. I've got books here, but where I work like 80 hours a week with cleaning, um, I don't read a lot of books twice. I keep my books, but I didn't want to read it online and then not buy it. If I
right.
figured doing it this way, you get the sale, you get the business.
Well, I appreciate that too. Well,
Yeah.
let me tell you something. The For some reason, the print version that you have, the paperback and the hardcover, when I first released them, the publishing company I went through Hemingway for Bitch. They uploaded the final manuscript, but it was different than the one that I had approved for the final manuscript. And if you notice, and I'm sure you have noticed because it happens more than once in the first chapter, you have a lot of words that are like compounded together to create
Yep.
a whole new one word. And it happens a lot in the first chapter, maybe two or three times throughout the rest of the book, but that first chapter is jumbled with those. That is not me, that is Hemingway. And I
Oh,
just
is it? I'm
hopefully
glad you brought that
I
up
that
because I
is
did
not
notice
me.
it.
I do
Okay.
know how to put a space between words, especially words as simple as the and any word that comes before or after it. So hopefully, we'll talk a little bit about Hemingway later on too. For anyone who's looking to publish, I just talk about my experiences with the three different publications that I used.
Oh, right now I'm at chapter 6 called She Can't Be Dead. So I like the fact you're incorporating a lot of different creatures on here. So
Well, let me say first the print issue that I mentioned that is taken care of. I did re-upload the manuscript myself, so that's taken care of. The first chapters
mhm.
looks good now. But you mentioned all the different characters. I love horror. I love horror. I grew up on Hammer, Universal, all the old classic Universal monsters. Of course, I'm influenced by 80s horror greatly. I think that was my main vibe with wanting to write this was to put werewolves back in the shadows, make them terrifying, make them bloody, dangerous, not pretty and sleek and glamorous like they've become. You know, in the chapter, and I know you're past this. There's a chapter where it literally describes her as something out of a nightmare, and that's I wanted to give her teeth and claws, not. And the vampires, they don't sparkle. I love Twilight. I'm not putting down Twilight. I don't want anybody to
I
think that.
am.
I I watched Twilight many times. I just finished the Twilight marathon with my mother last week. She had never seen any of them, so I didn't want vampires to be sparkly. I wanted it to be
Does she
more like
still want
the
you to come
Lost Boys
by?
'80s. Pardon?
Does she still want you to come by the house?
She lives with me now. She moved in with me. I moved
Oh,
her in
gee,
with me.
that's true.
So
I saw the first two Twilights. I liked the second one.
the
I
second one's one
wasn't a
of my
big,
favorites.
yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the first, but um, after that, it was just kind of like I didn't care for the romanticizing of it, and my
Yeah.
thoughts of vampires and werewolves are a lot different from this. Robert Pattinson's gone on to do some great stuff with
Oh
David
yeah.
Cronenberg,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Kristen Stewart. I loved in Adventureland and American
Yeah.
Ultra, and even Love Lies Bleeding earlier this year. Like Kristen Stewart does not get enough credit.
No, she doesn't. And I thought her portrayal as Princess Diana
Yep,
was so good. I was
yep,
hoping
I
she'd be
agree.
recognized more for her role in that. And
Yeah.
Spencer, very good performance.
Yeah. So I know they're both trying to get away from that Twilight,
Hmm.
I get it.
Yes, yes.
But for me, I notice a few references like and I'm
Uh-huh.
not going to spoil anything. Like I said, I'm only so far into it, but you get the part with Jack and Tyler at the beginning. Was that
Yes.
reference
Yeah.
to an American Werewolf in London?
I knew you're going to ask me that. Yes, when they're on the jogging trail in the beginning and they hear the noise and they say, yes, that was a huge nod to American Werewolf in London with Jack and David on the trail. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, the character Jack is named after the best friend from American Werewolf in London, and there's another character later on named David. Most of my characters in here are named after famous horror movie characters or the actors that portrayed them,
I
such
want
as
to
Jack.
bring something up.
Yes,
You get a vampire bat in here named Boris. Now, of
Boris.
course, Boris was the name of Boris Karloff, who was
And yes, and that is in
Frankenstein.
reference. That is a nod to Boris Karloff, who did play a vampire in one movie in his entire career. So yes, that is a nod to Mr. Karloff.
I find it interesting because he's famous for Frankenstein, and yeah, he's
Mhm.
being named, or a bat's being named after him, who you think
Mhm.
would be Bela Lugosi.
Yes. Yep. No, after Boris Karloff. Yeah. There is a Bella in the book too, but it's not named after Kristen Stewart's character in Twilight. I actually had a German Shepherd. That was one of the best dogs I ever had, and the Bella in the book is the German Shepherd. So some characters aren't named after movie characters or actors. Some of them are actually named after family members and friends. But there are a lot of nods to horror in the book. For example, without giving any spoilers, the name of the school is Hamilton Elementary. That's a nod to Prom Night, one of my favorite 80s slashers with Jamie Lee Curtis. It was Hamilton High that they went to. So the name of the school in the book is Hamilton. And I don't mention a place in the book. It doesn't take place in a specific location. I wanted readers to read it and think, oh, this could be in my backyard. This could be my neighborhood. So I didn't want to limit it. It is mentioned in the second book exactly where it takes place, but the first book could be anywhere. That was
Yeah,
deliberate. There's a deliberate lack of mention of the location.
yeah. And of course, what else was I going to bring up? The name Karen, I don't know if this came by you or not, but the name
Mm-hmm.
Karen, that was synonymous
It
for.
it I know it fits. Karen is a stigma of a bitch,
Hmm.
but no, Karen was named after Dee Wallace's character in The Howling. And I wrote the original screenplay for Bitch. It's a 15-page short screenplay, and it's won some awards. That's what kind of inspired me to write the novel. But I wrote it originally in 2017 before the phrase Karen was actually coined to mean what it was. So I did choose that name for the character before it became a big symbol of being a bitch. But it's named after Karen White from The Howling.
Yeah. No, 1981 was a good year for werewolf
Yes.
movies. American Werewolf in London, The Howling, Wolfen. Jeepers even
Mhm.
Full Moon High came out that year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you had a lot of them. Of course, the cat's name in this is Michael J. Fox, which I
Yes, there is a cat named Michael J. Fox who likes to lick his anus. He's a comic relief, and of course, Michael J. Fox was in Teen Wolf, so that was a
yep.
nod to that werewolf movie, which was huge for me in the mid '80s. Teen Wolf was huge for me. It was a big movie for me. I remember when I got it on VHS at Christmas. It still remains one of my all time favorite Christmas gifts ever because I was so excited to get that. It still remains one of my favorite movies. I still watch it maybe once or twice a year. But yeah, so the cat is named after Michael J. Fox. Doesn't have any actual the actor's characteristics, of course, but it's a nod to Michael J. Fox and Teen Wolf.
Well, he just disappeared into the woods, so I'm wondering if
Yeah,
he'll go back to the future.
does he go back to the future? Maybe there is some different time frames in these books. We'll see.
Well, I
I
don't
did
know.
finish.
We're getting a lot of
I
stuff.
I just finished the outline for the third book today. I have a 12-page outline, fully typed for the third novel. I've started two chapters. I have two chapters in, so we'll see if there's time travel or not. It gets wild.
I'm waiting for Stupid Bitch. That's the one I'm waiting for.
Stupid bitch, dumb bitch. There could be a lot of
Dumb
spinoffs.
bitch. Dumb bitch. Yeah.
There could be a lot of spinoffs.
Yeah. No, and I know your second one is out in publication too. So
Yes, I do have that here too. This is a sequel that came out on Halloween. This is the
there you
son of
go.
a son of a bitch. I don't want to get the glare on there, but this is out now. This is on Amazon right now. It's on Amazon hardcover.
Uh-huh.
It's coming everywhere else too, wherever books are sold throughout the world. And there's my forward by Patrick Ray that I mentioned. He's a phenomenal filmmaker. He did Nailbiter, I Am Lisa, a bunch of movies that are doing really well. Rotten Tomatoes like 90%, and so he's a phenomenal filmmaker. So I was very fortunate and honored to have him write the foreword for me.
Yeah. No, I'm enjoying this read right now, and a lot of the humor that's coming on with it as well. So,
I hope I make you chuckle a couple times.
huh?
I hope I've made you chuckle a couple times so far.
Well, I think one thing that grabbed me is that early on in the book, they go out in the daylight, and it's like everybody is in awe as opposed to in fear,
Mhm.
and
Right.
I found that interesting.
Oh,
I know the question's been asked in there, right now there's two bodies, and I'm only like I think I'm on what, chapter six? Yeah, chapter six. There's already two bodies. It's like there's got to be some explaining to be done at some point. I know
there
that.
is. Oh, there's a detective. Detective Sherry Locke will show up later on and ask some questions because Jack does become a suspect. I'm not, no spoilers. It's just what's coming up for you.
Now,
they have to find a way out of it.
Who's the detective an inspiration of?
Well, I named her Sherry Locke after Sherlock Holmes.
Oh,
So
Sherry Law.
she's a nod to Sherlock Holmes, Detective Sherry Locke.
There you go. There you go. So how many of these are you going to make?
I'm going to write three novels, three full novels. I've just started the third, like I said, and there's going to be at least three spin-off novellas. I'm going to do one about. Well, I won't tell you what they're about yet because I don't want you to know any spoilers. But they're the characters in this book. There's so much potential for stories that aren't going to be in these that there will be spin-offs. One's going to be called Little Darling, and then there's going to be another one regarding the Darling family. And I want more backstory with Karen and Tracy. I don't know. Have you? I don't think you've met Tracy yet in the novel, but Tracy's a nod to my sister. My sister who passed away was named Tracy, and she used to scare me a lot when I was a kid. So I did give her a character, but um, there's a lot of things coming up that are you'll see.
Yeah. No, how long did it t take you to, like, I know nothing about getting a book published, so what has been the process of this?
Well, I wrote the manuscript, and I had an editor with my first book. I had written worked with her prior on a book called "Tell the World They Killed Me," the true story about my aunt and how her death and how she blamed the hospital that took care of her or didn't take care of her. That's also on Amazon. So her name is Finch. Her last name is Finch, and she was phenomenal. She taught me a lot, and so she worked with me on the original bit. She did the editing for me. And what an editor does is they go through, they make sure everything's spelled right, they make sure the syntax is right, that the structure is right. They make suggestions. You can listen to them and make changes or not. We talk about character flow and development and maybe some ideas that could be thrown in there. And then she did this phenomenal hike she did from Mexico to Canada during the time I was writing the second book. So she wasn't available for me. So I did fly solo on the second book, but I took everything that she had taught me. And she's in the beginning here. I did give a shout out to her in the beginning. Um, Her name is Kashmir Finch, and she's phenomenal. She taught me a lot, but I did fly the second book solo because she wasn't available. So um, I like I said, I took the everything she taught me, I put it into there, I polished it, I sent it off. Then after you polish your manuscript, you send it off to the publisher, which was published by Hemingway. It can take months to get the manuscript finished. They go through, they polish it, they line edit every single sentence is gone over with a fine tooth comb with what I was told a team of 16 professional editors. And then they send it to you and you approve it or deny it. You go through and see if there's any other changes that you want, but it's a lot of back and forth. It's a very long process. And then once you get it done, it's kind of like, in the movie where they say it's locked in. It's you lock it, and then they upload it and they publish it. I did design the cover for Bitch and Son of a Bitch. I did design both of those covers, so I'm kind of proud of that too. I do like the way they turned out. But then they released it on wherever books are sold online throughout the world. They wrote me up a beautiful press release that came out. Yeah, and then 72 hours later, a bitch was born. But like I said, the manuscript was messy when it was published, and it had to be redone twice, once by the publisher and the third time by myself to get it the way it is now. So that was disappointing. I said like I told you, I wanted a lot of 80s vibes for Bitch. And I even wanted the measurements to be the mass produced books from the 80s. They said, "Oh yeah, that's no problem." Early on, before I even signed a contract with them, yeah, that's fine. We can do that. They didn't do that. They still haven't. They're supposed to create an author website for me that was included in what I paid for. They didn't do that. So there's a lot of things that they didn't do that they were supposed to do, and I'm still working with them on that. So I do want to let anyone know who's looking for a publisher. I highly don't recommend Hemingway as a choice. They charge too much, and you don't get everything without fighting for it. And still, I haven't gotten everything. So They are not a vanity press. They're just not a good publisher. I don't think they're worth recommending. Now, let me explain really quick the difference between a vanity press, a traditional publisher, and a self-publishing company. The traditional publisher, you're going to submit your manuscript. They say yes or no. If they say yes, they do everything. They get a big chunk of your money. They promote the hell out of it. I'd never gone with one, but my understanding is they have a huge say on how it's promoted and what goes in the book. And there's gonna be a lot of rejection. So I didn't even want to try going that route. I was just wanting to get it out there and just get it done. So I found the difference between the self-publishing companies and Vanity Press is I'll use Dorrance Publication. They've been around for a very long time. They were even mentioned in an episode of I Love Lucy. They wanted like $7,000 to $15,000 out of my pocket for them to produce and publish my book. And then they wanted to do add-ons where it's another $5,000 for this add-on and another $1,000 for that add-on. And it was going to take 6 months to even get the manuscript back to me. And they would take part of my sales. They would get part of my royalties. They would own some of my rights. That's Vanity Press. Not necessarily Dorrance is a vanity press, but a vanity press is going to overcharge you. They're going to take your royalties and split them, and they're going to take part of your royalties, and they will most likely maintain some of your rights, and you're going to pay them to do that. You shouldn't pay them. A traditional publisher, you don't pay. The self-publishing companies, that's the difference. They do all this stuff for you. You keep all the rights, and you keep your copyright 100%. All they do, you pay them a fee. They proofread it, they format it, they line type it, they do all the stuff. They'll even create your cover if you want, and they upload it and they publish it for you for one fee, and then you're done. So there is no splitting royalties. You keep everything yourself. So you're pretty much paying someone. If you're going to pay someone to edit your work anyways, why not just pay the publisher to do it? It's included in the price. So that's what I did. The second book that I did, this is The Son of a Bitch. I went through Tribune publishers with them. Much more reasonable in price. And up until recently, I was satisfied with what they had done, but they still haven't uploaded it, published it to my Ingram Spark account, which is where it goes to Barnes & Noble and everywhere throughout the world. They haven't released my press release yet, and that was something they're supposed to do. They published it in the wrong size. If you see these side by side, you can see that the second book is bigger. I wanted them to be the same size because I'm just an OCD like that, I guess. So they got the size wrong. The hardcover was supposed to have a dust jacket. There's no dust jacket. These are things I've been trying to get them to correct, and they're not responding. They've just completely ghosted me without finishing everything that they were supposed to. So I don't recommend Tribune. And really quick, who I do recommend, this is Kisses and Carnage. This is available now. This is the novella based on Bitch. So you don't have to read a 400-page book. This is literally only like 117. I think this is the book that's strictly based only on the short screenplay of Bitch. And there are some, I'll show you really quick here. There are some illustrations in here too. I know you're reading Bitch. Character Ginger, that's Ginger. So there are illustrations of the characters in this one. And this was kind of fun to put together because at the very end, here's another illustration. This is my illustrated interpretation of Karen in human form.
Oh,
but
wow.
At the very end of this book, what I wanted to do was I included this is the actual original screenplay poster, and then it's the screenplay. So if you get this one, it's like I said, it's a novella. It's a short version of Bitch, and you have the original screenplay in there that you can have. So that is also available right now. That trended on Amazon for about a week when it was out. So that was kind of cool. And then Son of a Bitch hit number 3. It peaked at 3 on the Kindle for mystery suspense novels that for the first few days. That was really cool.
Yeah, and I noticed that Tiffany Helm got a copy.
Yeah,
Now, do you know what her response to it is right now, or?
she hasn't read it yet. She said she'll read it sometime around the holidays or thereafter. But I was very pleasantly surprised when she gave me a shout out on Facebook. That was very nice of her. So Yeah, that was really cool. I sent Ron. Did I send? I can't remember if I sent Ron Sloan a copy or not. I feel like I did. I don't know. I might not have. But the reason I mentioned Ron Sloan is because he inspired Boris the
Oh, did
vampire.
it?
When I was writing him, he actually came to my mind whenever I write Boris as actually. Let me show you the illustration. I have an illustration of Boris in this one too. But that's who I pictured when I was writing Boris the vampire because there's flashbacks with Boris, and I thought of Ron Sloan when I was writing it as a description. Now watch me not be able to find it in here now. Sitting here on a podcast, flipping through a book. There you go. That's Boris. And if you tell me you can't see Ron Sloan in there, can you see Ron Sloan in that?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not Ron Sloan face, but I did use it as a template for this character on that and that photo and that illustration. So yeah, that was fun. So I did do a dedication to him in the second book, and he was very touched by it.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
No, I had Tiffany Helm actually on this year. Her and her mom, Brooke
yeah,
Bundy, went on here to talk about catnip.
yeah. Aren't they great together?
Yeah, Tiffany reached out to me about it, and I said, sure, you guys can come on here. They come on as well as the director of the film, so I said, sure, come on. I haven't done as many interviews this year as I done last year because I've been just so busy and I'm constantly exhausted. Not exactly happy where I am in life because I'm still stuck here and I would like to move to Toronto, but
Mm.
I don't want to get into politics, but I do not like our current prime minister for various reasons. And I'm going to be one of the people voting him out in 2025.
Good
And I
luck.
don't, huh?
Good luck with that. Hope it turns out better than what our prior or our previous election turned out to be. But
Well,
I wish you to fare better than we did.
well, the best case scenario for you guys is that he actually surprises people. That's the best case scenario because I know all the criticisms that happened before, but
But will he surprise us in a bad way or a good way?
I'm hoping a good
That's
way.
well, I hope so too. I think everyone hopes that the president will do good by majority, but he's got us so divided right now between Republicans and Democrats. And I'm not huge into politics either with discussing them, but it's a scary time right now. And I seriously hope. I mean, I'm a Democrat, and I seriously hope that my fears are not justified. I hope I can be proven wrong. If I am, and he does good things, I'll be the first to come out here and say, "Hey, he was great. I was wrong. Look what he did." As a matter of fact, I have another book coming out called Red, White, and Orange, and
Yeah.
it's a journal. It'll be released in January. It's just a journal that you can keep track of progress to see what promises are kept and which ones are not, and where he ends at the 4 year term compared to the beginning of it. So that is one that I'm currently working on. It's almost ready to be sent to my publisher as well. So it's just, like I said, it's just a journal to keep track of things. It's not something you read. You just write in it and like a receipt book. So that at the end of the 4 years, you have all these different receipts of progress or not.
Yeah. Um, but nevertheless, all I know is that Trudeau's got to go here. He's got to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But
Well,
Canada's getting tired. Kevin O'Leary just came out and just went off on Trudeau in an interview, and it's like, yeah, Jordan Peterson's not happy with him. Elon Musk is not happy with him. Neither is Joe Rogan. I mean, even Pierce Morgan. Like, I'm sorry, but Trudeau is not very popular right now, and people here are not happy with him. So I don't want to wish ill on anybody, but it's like when the people are not pleased, it's time to listen, not make up a bunch of stupid laws that are
right,
just further pissing people off, you know?
right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But you can get wait, look. Oh, this is my word. No.
Skittles.
Skittles. Hi, kitty. Skittles has authority because Skittles made ordered Tiffany Helm to do the robot dance.
Did she do it?
Well, sitting down, she did it partially, but I could tell she was in awe of the Skittles.
Well, I know Skittles is a big part of your show. You should make him your official mascot.
He is my special mascot. Aren't you, kitty? You my buddy?
I'd show you one of my cats right now, but they're all assholes and they're all gone.
Skittles, you good boy? Why didn't you clean up the apartment? Skittles, you are lazy. You are a lazy kitty.
Let me see. Wait, don't put him down yet. Let me see his beans on the bottom of his paws, his little pads, his beans. Those are the
Oh,
cutest. Those are the cutest part of a cat to me. I just those little pink pads. They're so cute. It's just like I want to just kiss them.
Yee. You little pets? You have pets? You have pets, kitty? Is Tiffany Helm one of your biggest fans? She listens to you. She didn't do the robot dance for me, but she did robot dance for you. Yes, she knows that you're related to the King of Beast. Way, 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 way down. No, Skittles become. I started letting Skittles appear on here when I started doing the Zooms because it's like, like my brother and his wife, their ferrets have passed away. My parents' dog passed away, and I'm like, looking back on these, I'll have these memories of Skittles appearing on here, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah. The Skittles was left to me by my father, so
Mm.
so so although he was an outdoor cat with them, but they lived out in the country. I'm right now in the city, so I don't let Skittles go outside here.
No, I don't let any of my cats outside.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that they get too far and hit or lost or taken.
Well, I wouldn't want my cat to die on the road, so
Exactly. That's what meant by hit. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, if I ever do make the move to Toronto, I'm gonna bring Skittles with me, obviously.
Yes, of course.
But but that's again, I don't want to get into politics, but that's a major problem everywhere. Is inflation and rent and this and that, and I'm also in a belief, although they're not going to admit it, but I believe that was one of the reasons I lost my hospital job.
Mm.
Because anytime I posted, they knew I had desire to move to Toronto, and anytime I posted um, comments about Toronto on my Facebook wall,
Right,
I'd come under fire by them. I didn't write on their wall,
right, right.
you know? So,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
crazy. It's crazy.
I had one of the managers there, well, actually the guy that hired me, like sent me a friend's request. And I accepted it because I figured, you know what? I've had two or three of the supervisors there have reached out to me expressing the regret that I was let go because they knew anytime I was called, I come in.
Yeah,
Whereas anytime there was a 3-day weekend, it was always 17 people always called in sick.
right.
I would end up doing a double. So this guy was on my page for about a week and then he unfriended me. So I'm like, you motherfucker. So you're on there spying on me.
Mm-hmm. I have one of those too.
Yeah.
I have one of those too. Yes.
So my response to them is I was at Chiller this year, my first time doing a con in the States. Did I do a panel where I read my dismissal in front of everybody and talked about the state of our hospital and nurses sitting with the warm blankets around them playing on their phone? Did I talk about that? Did I talk about the clicks? Did I talk about all this shit? You know, people being found passed out drunk in patients' rooms, but they get to go to Alcoholics Anonymous and get their jobs back.
Mm.
Did I talk about that? Well, I'm certainly talking about it on here because you know what? They can fuck off.
Right, right. This
You
is your
know?
show. This is your podcast. You talk about
Yeah.
whatever you want.
I was in Toronto. I was in Niagara Falls for Frightmare on the Fall. I mean, I'm not going to say whether I did or didn't, you know, but I am going to let them know because I don't think I'm going to get my regional. And it's made me not trust unions either because I think my union rep was in bed with them.
Huh. We could talk some bad shit about unions. We should have a whole different episode where we just talk about unions because literally just yesterday I was a union steward. I just sent my resignation letter as a steward to the union and to the human resources of the hospital so they wouldn't recognize me as steward because the union that I was representing was so horrible that I didn't feel like I could represent them and give the members the best representation that they deserved because once it got past me and it got downtown to the local, it was a shit show. So I just like no, I'm done. I'm done as being a steward. I considering even one of our options is we can instead of because we're our right to work has been lifted. So we have to pay union dues if we're in a union. But one of the things that we can do is contribute pretty much the same amount of the union dues to a third party so that the union doesn't get it, but we still have to pay it. So I'm seriously consider either doing that or transferring into another department that's not union because you're right. Unions, I know they're important. Our nurses here just unionized where I work with a different union that I'm in, and I'm very happy for them because they need contractual working conditions. But I'm very glad they didn't go with the union that I'm affiliated with because it's just awful.
Yeah, but I'm not happy with how things went, and I wasn't the only one affected by this too, because they fired another individual who ended up losing his house as a result, and I witnessed it, and I was never called in as a witness. So to me, there's something wrong there, you
Yeah,
know? Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I agree.
So I'm gonna let them know next year. I don't care if I'm laying in the middle of the road with my remains hanging out. If I'm
No,
brought into that hospital and I'm revived back, I'm going to sue them.
yeah,
My body, my rules. They want to play that game. I can play that game too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how Canada rules are, but I know with the EMTs here, they have to take you to the first qualifying medical facility that can take care of you for whatever uh, acuity you are or whatever your injury or your illness is. Like if it's a high trauma and you're at a low trauma area, they have to bypass and go to the next qualifying place. But if your guts are hanging out and that facility that you don't want to go to is the first one that's capable of taking care of you, if here I don't like I said I don't know how Canada works, but if you're here, you're going to that place, so you might have a lawsuit.
Good.
Of course, some of these facilities around here wouldn't be able to revive you because some of them are just horrible.
Well, ours is fucking horrible as far as I'm concerned. I got told you can be replaced. And I'm like, no, I can't. No, I can't. I had 13 months of perfect attendance, 9 Bravos. I worked double shifts, including an 18-hour shift that not only should I not have worked, but the only reason I was working it is because a bunch of assholes weren't showing up.
Right.
You want me to tell you what happened this year? I had a retina operation. First time ever. January 10th, I went to work at a UPS. I'm working 2 cleaning jobs right now, and they definitely appreciate me. But I was working at a UPS cleaning overnight, and there was like blotchy spots over my right eye. And I went to the eye doctor, and he said, it's just from getting old. And I'm like,
Huh.
okay. 10 days later, exactly, on the 20th of January, I left my brother's apartment, went again to UPS. It was on Saturday overnight because I only do that location once a week. And I don't know what happened, but about 75% of my vision looked like a black curtain was over it on that side.
Mm. Mm.
So I went, And they said, yeah, you could have an operation in Halifax. Now, Halifax is about 4.5 hours drive from here. So I've never been there before. So what had happened was uh, it was on Tuesday that I went in there and they diagnosed me with that. Went to work overnight, got home and got into bed. About 8 o'clock in the morning, my phone rings and they tell me I got to be in Halifax by 1 o'clock. And I'm like, I can't be in Halifax by 1 o'clock. How am I going to get there if you don't want me driving?
Right.
And they said, don't you have somebody who can drive you? And I said, well, my younger brother probably could, but he will need to explain his absence to his employer. He can't just up and go. So I called my brother, and he said the best he could do was Friday. So I called them back, and they said, okay, you can go in Friday for your consultation. And I said, no. I said, if I go in there, we'll do the consultation and then we'll do the operation. There's going to be none of this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So they got back to me and said, okay, let's do Monday. So
Nice.
I now I paid for my brother's time from work. Because I knew he won't get paid those days he was off. So I compensated him, and we were going to be overnight, at least one night at a hotel. So which was nearby. So I paid for that, and I paid for her meals. So
Right.
uh, yep. Um, but nonetheless, we got down there, and what's interesting, have you ever had an eye operation?
I have not yet, but I'm sure I'm getting to the age
Okay, I'll
where
walk you through this. I'll walk you through this.
it's not nothing like Olivia from Final Destination 5, I assume, where the lasers are just burning everything.
Well, I haven't seen that. I've only
You
seen a
have
I've only seen a couple of Final
oh,
Destination.
you have to watch part 5. It's one of the best
Oh.
to me.
I'm thinking more of Clockwork Orange.
Okay. Oh no, no, that's unforgettable too. That's yeah,
But, but, but,
no blinking.
well, here's the deal. I can say that I have actually an 84-year-old friend of mine in Toronto is going through an eye situation. So I told him what it was all about. Okay. What happens is you go in there, you fill out some paperwork, whatever, and you get done up in the gown and whatnot. They wheel you in and they put this warm blanket over top of you. They don't put you under.
Hmm.
I'm gonna tell you right now, there's no pain.
Okay.
There's no pain. I prepared myself because I was listening to some video because when I'm at work, I listen to earphones.
Yeah.
And I actually listened to a 23-year-old female out of Toronto. Now, if I lived in Toronto, I wouldn't have to travel 4.5 hours to get this done. I'll tell you that.
All right.
Yeah. But nonetheless, I listened to her describe it and I watched some other videos of her progress. Okay. You don't 100% get your 100% vision back, but it's certainly better. Like I could see it's a little distorted, but I can see you, I can see my hand flipping.
Yeah.
So, but nonetheless, I prepared myself on a couple of stuff where people talked about it, and that made me feel a lot more comfortable. They take you in, they tell you what the procedure is going to be. They cover they covered this side of my face because this was the side wasn't going to be operated on, so they covered it up. They did give me a needle to numb it.
Yeah.
There was, of course, eye drops and stuff, and they put these things in to keep your eye open. Now, there's a bit of pressure, which is a little uncomfortable, but not painful. But I didn't feel anything sharp or anything. And they just said, listen, and I could hear them talking and whatnot as I was laying there, but the music was playing in the background. But they said if I feel any bit uncomfortable or anything at all, just raise my hand slowly. But
Never had to raise your hand.
yeah, well, it took about 40, 45 minutes. And they had to, because it was behind the eyeball, and they did whatever it is. I don't know what they did, but they did it. And they had there was a patch over my eye. They wheeled me out. Like when they were done, I was like, really? I'm done? I'm done? Really? Okay. They wheeled me out, and I got some medication, and my brother got to take me home that day. I
Good.
mean, we stayed the night at a hotel, and there was a theater attached to the hotel. You know what movie I watched the night before? I
Not
watched,
Clockwork Orange.
no, I watched The Zone of Interest.
Which one?
The Zone of Interest.
I've never heard of it.
It's a Holocaust movie.
Oh, nice. Never heard of it.
It was up for Oscars last year, but yeah,
Huh.
nonetheless, I'm like, okay. But anyway, um, on the way home, my brother drove me home, and we had like a Subway sub, and I
Mm-hmm.
paid for it, but I had those reusable grocery bags in my car. And because of the anesthetics, I threw up not once, not twice, but three times in those bags.
So now I have to ask you, what kind of sub did you get?
I don't remember, but I'll tell you one thing. Those bags did not contain it because there was a puddle on my rubber carpet.
Oh.
I was like, these are not reusable anymore.
See, if I have to throw up something, I'm hoping it's Taco Bell because that tastes just as good the second time as it did the first.
Oh, does it? Anyway, I went home, but you know what happened? And this is something the fucking hospital here devalued. I'll tell you what happened. Got on the phone to my supervisor. I was told I should take a week off work from my doctor, and I said, "Look, if I don't work, I don't get paid." And I
Right,
always joke and say, my cat's not going to get a job. But serious, if I don't work, I don't get paid.
right.
So I told my supervisor, and I said, I'm going to go to work tonight. And she goes, Are you sure? And I said, Yeah. My doctor told me just don't lift any more than, I don't know, 10 pounds or something, which I was able to obey. I went to work that night. Do you think any of the fuckers at my old hospital job are going to do that?
Oh, of
No.
course not.
No. So no, they can't fucking replace me. I'll tell you another little story. One of my coworkers at one of the overnights I do here, she brought some McDonald's. She felt hungry. She goes, Our McDonald's is open all night. She said, Can I get you a burger or something while I'm out? I said, Sure. She got me a burger and a milkshake, and I don't know what happened with the milkshake, but both of us were feeling sick afterwards. But anyway, we finished our shift. The following day, I woke up. I had the shivers. I had a headache. My leg joints were on fire. I went to the washroom and threw up. I called my supervisor and said, I'm going to try to make it in, but I'm telling you, this is the condition I am, and I think I know why. And I made it into work not on time, but it didn't matter because they know I'm going to do my work. But I made it into work. How many people work at the hospital? Because I'm sorry, but when they say I can be replaced, I'm not trying to pat myself in the back. But you got people there that will take a day off just because they don't want to fucking come into work.
Right, right. Yeah,
I
that's how it
took,
works.
yeah, I have one day I was off from my operation. I was back night, and I didn't damage anything. I had to get the cataract done, um, which luckily got done here and not at that place. And that was the same kind of procedure, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Yep. But it wasn't painful. So if you have to have it done, it's not painful. But when I hear them boast and brag about replacement, you can be replaced. No, you can't replace me. with what you're hiring.
Right.
You know, the only way they're going to replace me is to get somebody that's going to do the same level of work.
Right.
And yeah. But like I said, if that's how I'm going to be treated, or I'm going to have some fucking jackass there come on my Facebook as, yeah, I knew he was there, but I was hoping he would say something to me. Because any of the other people, of course, the other supervisor at least called me and expressed that they felt bad I was gone.
Right.
But considering the shit that goes on there that is being allowed, me telling somebody to fuck off who's meddling in my personal life, I'm sorry. Uh, Wrong, yes, but I think you can that could be dealt with. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's where I stand on that. So um, I am hoping to eventually get moved to Toronto because I'm actually kind of worried about. I don't have any health issues, but I'm worried about ending up there at some point
Yeah.
because
You just turned 50, didn't you?
52.
Oh, okay. Oh, we're the same age. That's right. We've had this discussion. You look younger than me, so that's why I assume you're a couple of years behind.
That's just because I just got my beard and stuff shaved up. So
Mine will never be shaved off.
yeah, well, you're
I
getting
look like
some.
I look like Uncle Fester if I do.
Yeah, there you go. But I'm worried about how I'll react if I see certain people there, if I'm in there. I'm like, yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
So how do you think you might react if you saw that person that would trigger you?
Beat their face in through the back of their skull.
You can't refrain. You'd have to refrain. There's security. There's cameras. You gotta watch out.
I'll say my fist slipped.
Just think of Skittles.
No, I'm just gonna let them know, listen, you're not allowed to have me in there as a patient. This is
Yeah,
what will happen, you
yeah,
know? But I know they didn't want me talking about it after I was dismissed. Well, considering there are people there that work in there that knew about it that I didn't talk to about it,
yeah.
I'm like, well, they broke their seal, so not only am I going to talk about it, I have quite the outlet where I can do that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you do.
Yeah, yep. So I say fuck them.
Yeah.
Yep. But if you ever do have an eye operation, that's I've never had an operation where I wasn't put under before, so I'm kind of like that was different, but it wasn't painful.
Yeah, that's good. I don't
Just
want to
take.
be put under. The anesthesia scares me.
I was put under once, and it's funny. My father in year 2000 had a rupture operation, and when he came back after the operation, of course, he told me about it, and I was like, I have the same thing, like this loose area down by where your crotch area is. So I went, and it turns out, yeah, I had a rupture.
Hmm.
So what had happened was, mom had taken me to the hospital, not this one, but the one further out, because that's where they were doing the operation. But this was in the year 2000. And they put me under, and I all I remember was for some weird reason I was talking about the gopher in Caddyshack before I was going under for some weird reason. I was talking about that. And they had me count backwards or count whatever. Anyway, when I woke, I threw up. There was a nurse sitting beside me, but I threw up. And I remember asking her 3 times if I had thrown up. Now and she said yes all 3 times, but it wasn't registering. I heard her, but it wasn't registering to me.
Yeah.
But eventually I got wheeled out and they got some toast that I didn't want to eat, but Mom insisted on it, and some orange juice or whatever. Mom asked me if I wanted to walk out the car because that's what Dad did. And I said, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I said, "I don't want to walk anywhere, you know?" This was when I was living at home. We stopped by the drugstore to get my painkillers.
Mm.
And Mom says, "You want to come in?" And I said, "You gotta be fucking joking." I said, "I'm gonna sit right here." All that was going through my head was how am I gonna get from the car to my bedroom? Because my bedroom was the furthest from the front door. I did finally make it and I slept. I remember that night I felt well enough to get up and I watched Boogie Nights on my at the time DVD player.
Yeah.
Um, and I watched all of Boogie Nights. I took painkillers one day because that's when I was taking my film classes. I took painkillers one day and then that was it.
Hmm. It's not bad.
I was able to walk around and whatnot, but that first day, Dad, it took longer to heal, but he still came to work because I was working at the water plant at the time. But he spent a lot of time sitting in the office, leaned back because of I don't know. I was like, really, you really don't need to be here. Just heal. But that was my dad for you. So, and I think I got a little bit of that in me where I still go to work whenever until I should take a week off. But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I don't like the situation that happened there and at the hospital, and I'm still bitter about it.
Yeah.
Yep. And I know there's people there that should have been fired from their jobs that, for one reason or another, are still there. Like when you got somebody, there was somebody that brought in from the Congo that was working there.
Hmm.
Nice guy, but he spent all night, one night on the phone calling Congo. And I guess somebody found him the following day in one of the rooms asleep, and there was a chair against the door, one of the ward.
Yeah.
That guy didn't get fired. Oh, I know why, because the government's paying half his wages.
Mm.
Bet you if that person was white, he'd get fired. Because we live in a country now where if you're a straight white male, it's okay to be racist against you. That seems to be the norm now. But
That's the way I was feeling too about it here, where if you're a straight white male, you're going to be fine under Trump's presidency, but if you're anybody else, watch out. Oh, you also have to be rich. Straight white rich male.
that seems to be what's happening right now. The middle class is turning into the lower class. I'm like straight like here in Canada, like the Trudeau's got like sending all these resources and shit to the Ukraine. We got people living on this in like tent city in a lot of places here, including here. We got people that can't afford groceries. How about fixing that? How
Right.
about fixing the housing situation? How about fixing things in your own fucking backyard?
Right.
You know? But
Yeah.
no, I think there's people out there that are seriously, well, Trudeau's already said he admires Chinese dictatorship, which, yeah, it's not making him any more popular. So,
Sometimes you have to wonder what flavor the Kool-Aid is.
but I am going to try to get moved to Toronto because, like I said, we don't get conventions here, you know,
Right.
and
Right.
I think that's where I belong. That's another thing too, and I heard this a lot at the hospital. I get people telling me Toronto's a violent place. There's so much crime, so much this, so much that. Well, I just did 29 videos on that trip where I went to Frightmare in the Falls, and I was there for a week. Probably the most aggressive thing I saw was an angry drunk walking across the street when there was a red light and people laughing at him because he was just a bumbling idiot. I didn't feel unsafe, whether I was on the subway, on the street, wherever. And I was on a long stretch of that subway lane. So again, they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if the high violence in Toronto is how would you compare it to the violence in like Detroit or Los Angeles or one of the boroughs in New York? You know, I know violence is violence, but what is the percentage that it has to occur before it's considered high in Canada compared to here in the United States?
yeah, but I didn't see any of that there. I know we've had issues with immigration here and people illegally coming in. When we get people from the Taliban burning
Mm.
our flag,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, go back to where you came from. Like seriously, go back to where you come from. You're not burning our Canadian flag in our country, you know.
Right.
Luckily, I didn't see anything like that because I might have been arrested. I can have a temper.
So can I.
Yep. I
Yeah.
will not put up with that. You know, if they're going to come here, they got to abide by our laws and rules.
Yeah, that should be anywhere you go.
Yep. Like when I went to New Jersey for Chiller, I can't just make shit up, although wasn't a whole lot different, but Lisa was doing a convention there and she told me about it, so I went. So the most annoying thing was waiting through immigration, which was
Mm.
like 2 hours. But other than that, I mean, I had fun. It was got to use my passport.
That's good. Your passport, you got that what 2 years ago?
I got that one of my trips to Toronto because Lisa was saying she wants to do some conventions in the States. So when she called me up one day and she said that she just got booked at Chiller. I was like, I had heard a lot about Chiller. So I said, okay. I said, I'll be there. Well, at least that was my plan. And I ended up making it happen. But um, here's one thing I managed to avoid on this trip, this recent trip. I got a friend in Toronto who he said his big weakness is at cons
Yeah.
is he buy too many posters. Posters are his weakness. For me, it's meeting the talent, passing my card out and a business card out and getting autographs.
Hmm. I'm all about the selfies. Like I want a selfie with Kane Hodder. You know, I'm using him as an example. If I see an icon that I have worshipped for so long, or not worshipped, but you know, one that I've liked for so long, or that's been in a movie that was part of my childhood, like D Wallace. I was really excited to meet D Wallace. That's so I know what you mean because it's like I have to have that selfie more than anything. When I got to meet Danny Paturo from Cujo, and I got my picture with him, and I met Henry Thomas from ET, and it's like Serena Vincent. I got to meet her. I know she's not like a big name in movies, but true horror fans will know who she is from Cabin Fever movie and a few other great movies. But you see these people, and it's like you see it in you see their selfies like $40, and you think, well, oh, $40 is if it's somebody that you really want, it's worth it. So yeah, I know what you mean. That's my weakness is the selfies. Autographs, not so much. I like the autograph, and it's usually a combo thing. You know, you get the autograph and the picture together. So I have many autographs as well. But my selfies, my photos with them are my big happiness. I've got to meet and get a picture with most of the Evil Dead franchise cast members. Alicia Silverstone, I got to meet her. She was super cool. That's why I love the conventions.
I
You know,
do too. And but I found when I was at Frightmare in the Falls last year, I met 31 of the guests.
nice.
And I
Felissa
was like,
Rose. Felissa Rose is another awesome one too. I loved
Melissa Rose is one of the best. She amps it
she.
up to
Yeah,
11.
she was on my show once before too.
I'm
And she,
trying to get her booked and she's agreed to it. The problem is she's doing a movie like every other week.
yeah. Hey, it's good. She's working, but
I
I
mean,
saw
she's in
her.
one or two that I've been involved with James Balsamo. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She was another one that I was involved with too. Um, she was really cool at the convention. She was right next to Kane Hodder in the line, and they were bantering back and forth. On a playful thing. I mean, where they're calling each other like "fuck you" and this and that, and they're going back and forth at it in a really entertaining, fun way. So while you had to wait in her long ass line, because she had one of the long lines, she got a lot of
oh, you
fans.
always get a VIP because you can get ahead.
Yeah. But they kept it entertaining. And it was like the wait went by like that because her and Kane Hodder were so great together, and they did that for the fans.
Well, I have met her twice, and they she was always there with Dave Sheridan, and Dave Sheridan would be dressed up in his Officer Doofy character from Scary Movie.
Yeah.
The second time he had the vacuum cleaner there with him. And I said to them, I said, what would it be like if Angela and Officer Doofy were in the same movie? I got a picture of him doing this thing and sticking the vacuum cleaner hose up her hindquarters and she's bent over for it, you know? Um, and another story I got with Felissa Rose is like she had Dave Sheridan on one side of her and she had Christy Swanson on the other side.
Oh, I love her too, Kirsty Swanson. I've had an ongoing crush on her since the '80s.
Yep. Well, I got a picture of her in a bikini shot of her.
Mhm.
And she was very distracted on Felissa's table because Felissa, the first time I met her, she didn't have this picture. But this time there was a picture of her with the Angela face, but the dick showing.
Ah, nice, nice.
And she was just, Chrissy Swanson was like distracted by that.
Distracted, good or
So,
bad? Like, was she like
no, not bad.
offended, prudish,
No, no,
or
but she
just the
was
fact
kind
that
of,
hey, there's a penis on her?
I think she
It
was a
has a
little
penis.
shocked. So, Felissa took a little post-it note, drew a penis on it, and stuck it on the bikini pic, right on the crotch area
That
of
sounds like something Felissa would do.
Felissa did. And Christy Swanson looks at that and she goes, "Why is it so small?" I
Felissa's
met
was bigger than Christie's.
I met Christy Swanson twice. I met her at Chiller as well. But but uh she Felissa amps it up to 11. You got
I
the
I
rare
want to
ones, the
I
rare
want to
ones
make it
that
I want to make a confession to you,
uh-huh.
Christy Swanson. She is in one of my all-time favorite movies, and I know it's a horrible raspberry movie, Mannequin 2.
Yeah, I like the first Mannequin better.
Uh, I'm not gonna lie, I like Mannequin 2 because Christy Swanson is in it, but that is one of my favorite movies. It's a guilty pleasure movie. I watch it very often. Plus, William Ragsdale is good in it too. They have good chemistry.
Well,
God, Hollywood.
she still looks good.
Oh yeah, she does. She
Yeah.
does.
But nonetheless, like you got three types of guests. On the lowest end, you get ones that they're cordial, but you can tell they're just there for the money.
Yeah, yeah.
William Shatner comes to mind.
Yes, yeah. He was at the one where I met Alicia Silverstone. He was definitely, yeah,
Yeah. And the I met Shatner because I wanted to get my brother an autograph because he watches Skittles while I was gone. But he was the most expensive autograph combo I ever did.
yeah,
Yeah, about $250.
Wow.
Yeah. But you got them, and then you got ones that are very pleasant, you don't have a bad experience with. But then you got
Barbara
one.
Crampton. Barbara Crampton was very, very nice. She was very chatty, very
Mhm.
conversational with me when I met her. I was like, I was not expecting that. And she was asking me questions. It's like, I don't know what to say. This is Barbara Crampton. Shopping mall, so
Well,
she was very, very nice.
the only one I know of that's come the closest to Felissa Rose is at Chiller. I met Charles.
Oh, nice.
And I'll tell you, Charo, when people were asked on the Facebook Chiller page who their favorite person to meet was, Charo, I think, outdid everybody.
Yeah.
People loved Charo. And I met Charo, and she was in and into everybody that met her. She was interested in everybody that met her, and she was very
Mm,
highly Felissa Rose enthusiastic about it.
nice, nice. I loved her on the Carol Burnett show.
Hmm.
Yeah, very funny.
And then you get others like John Rhys Davies and William Catt fall into this category. They ask you a lot of questions about yourself.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, like if you're in school, they'll ask you what you're studying,
Yeah,
and
that's how Barbara Crampton was. She was very, very personable.
yeah. Well, William Catt was like that, and so was John Rhys Davies. I met John Rhys Davies at Toronto Comic Con, but I met William Catt at Chiller,
Yeah.
and that was interesting. And then there are some that are just dipping their toe into it. I met Sybil Shepherd, and it was the first con she had done was Chiller.
Mm,
She was brought in by Big Event uh, Entertainment, which was the one that brought in Shatner and Charo, and Sybil wasn't rude or anything, but you could tell this was all new for her. So she
yeah.
just she was a little reserved,
Yes.
you know. But I did get her going because where I've pitched the Doubtfire challenge to people,
Mhm.
I asked Sybil because I knew she had done this more than once, done the pie in the face more than once. I said to her, I said, I have a question for you. And she looks at me and I said, how many times, like I grew up, I loved the old pie in the face joke. And I said, how many times in your career had you taken a pie in the face? She said, just once, just a moonlighting. And I said, wasn't there a sitcom? And I didn't recall what it was, but I guess it was her sitcom where you're holding your hair up by the hair of the head, and you have a pie in your hand, you let your face just drop in it. And whoever was taking pictures was taking multiple pictures, and they captured this. Sybil sticks her finger up with a big grin on her face, and she said, "You're right. I did do that. That wasn't she was talking to me about it." I like that moment because it broke her in and she felt comfortable.
Yeah, that's good.
And she was very amused by that.
Mhm.
And but I know whoever does takes pictures of Warrington Gillette, they'll take a multi pictures.
Yeah.
Some places do that. Well, they took multi pictures of me with Sybil, and they did capture that little moment with her finger up.
Did they post it on the page? Because then you don't have to pay for the selfie with her. You have that one.
That they took it with my camera.
Ah, yeah,
Yep.
cool.
So they were all
Cool.
on my camera. So
Because I got I'm not saying I cheated anything like this, but I took a picture at a con with I believe it was Gary Locketel, and behind us was David Howard Thornton, who art from Terrifier movie. So
I had her mom. Yep.
I have a selfie with him in the background. So he is in a picture with me, and I didn't notice that until I got home. Looking, I'm like, oh, I got a picture with Mr. Thornton. So that was pretty cool. Even though I feel like I kind of cheated the situation unintentionally. Maybe I should call him up and say, hey, can we pay you at least half your price because you're in this picture with me? But
Well, you're not really cheating. There are people that have issue. If somebody's in the background when you're doing a selfie, that can't be helped.
Right, right,
Like when I got my picture taken with Danielle
right.
Harris, I mean, Scout was in the background signing for people. I mean,
Right.
but Scout Taylor Compton, but I know when Eli Roth was there this time, there was a lot of people preventing people from taking pictures and this and that. I've never done that. I've never done that. I figure if I want to meet somebody, I'll go meet them and do a picture.
Yeah.
Chiller was interesting. It was a lot of fun. I don't know when I'll do another one in the States, because I got to put my financial situation here first. I'm trying to figure out to make the move to Toronto, you know, but I did do that one because I heard a lot of great things about it. I met a lot of great people at it. I met the two killer Santas from Silent Night, Deadly Night 1
Yeah,
and 2.
yeah. I'd like to
You
meet Linnea quickly.
I've met Linnea a couple times.
Yeah, I bet
And
I heard she's very nice.
yeah, I had her on here too, one year. Um, yeah, I met Linnea once at
I think
Chiller, once at
she's
Horror
one I
Night.
would if I get the Terror Express going again. I kind of put it on hiatus so I can finish his novels, but I think she's one that I would love to reach out to and say, hey, let's come on my show, won't you?
Hmm.
She would be great. I've always loved her ever since I think I want to say I was 12 when Silent Night, Deadly Night came out, and I've known who she is, and I followed her ever since. So, and
Yeah,
Night of the Demons, of course, too.
and I met Tara Buckman, who was the mom who died at the beginning of Silent Night, Deadly Night. She gave me a big hug because she had just done my show and she was so happy I made it.
Yeah,
And I got her through an author named Charles Rosenay, who wrote the book A Top 10 Horror List. And he approached me to come on my show because somebody had turned him down on his requested for an interview because he was trying to promote his book.
yeah,
And he reached out to me, and I've had him on 3 times. This is one reason why I don't like turning down interviews because you never know when it's going to benefit you.
hmm
When I went to Chiller, Charles reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you want to split a room at the event hotel?" And I was like, "Sure." So I helped Lisa get set up. He helped Tara get set up, and we shared a hotel room,
yeah.
and that was beneficial to both of us. I met Lita Ford there, which was cool,
Nice, yeah. 80s
you know.
icon.
And I met Susan Olson from the Brady Bunch. Um,
Cindy, you went and saw Cindy?
you want me to tell you something? I That was one of the early shows I grew up with.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Did Susan go on and do something like do soundtracks or something for porno?
I
She
don't
like
know.
she did
But
like this. She scored pornos or something. I
I
heard.
had one of my Lisa shirts on, Lisa Langlois shirts on,
Yeah,
because I was there with Lisa, and I had one of her shirts on because I was promoting her. When I approached Susan Olson, she looked at me and she goes, "Do you know her?" And she's pointing to my shirt. I said, "Yeah, I'm here with her. She's a friend of mine." She goes, "I went to acting school with her." And I said, "Yeah, I went to dinner with her last night."
nice.
We got chatting and she didn't have her pigtails on. And so, but nonetheless, that was one of the early TV shows I grew up with.
Right.
She's heavily into animal rights.
That's good. I love that. So am I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I met a lot of people. Rosanna Arquette was there. I met her. Very reserved as well. I don't think she's done very many of these, but I got a picture from After Hours signed. So,
Yeah.
um, but I would have met more like Griffin Dunn. I ran out of money,
Yeah.
so I didn't get to meet him. Maybe sometime because I met David Naughton before.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you somebody else who ramped it up, and she was not on my list to meet, but I couldn't help but meet her. When I got my picture taken with Tara Buckman, from Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Cannonball Run, um, we had to get somebody to take the picture of us, and it was the woman that was at the next table, Bai Ling, who was in The Crow.
Mhm.
I looked at her and I was like, she was dressed to the nines. She had her hair was just black and slicked back and it was in a ponytail. Her makeup was done nice and elegantly. She had a red bubble jacket on, and she had on what looked like pajamas, but I knew they weren't. But they had what looked like anime looking characters on them. They were white, and you get the bits of black and orange and red. And I was like, I've got to get my picture taken with this woman just because, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And I did, and I bought a picture of her table. But I'm going to tell you something she does. And did this with everybody. She'll start off, she's got her arm around you, you got your arm around her, and they'll take some pictures, whatnot. And as they're taking her picture, she puts her arm around your neck and gets right close to you.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. She was, I'm glad, because she was not on my list.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm glad I put her there.
Yeah.
I'd meet her again in a heartbeat, you know? So there was ones like that. But I spent way too much money.
Don't we always?
And well, I said when I went to Frightmare in the Falls this time, I said I want to meet less guests. For me, it's easier said than done, but I managed to pull it off. I wanted to keep it at 10, no more than 12 at the most.
Yeah.
I think I might have went maybe 13, but
That's not too bad over.
no. Compared to 21 or 31, which was at my previous two, it was down quite a bit. And
Yeah.
Richard Dreyfuss canceled, so
That probably saved you some money.
that did save me some money. He was on my list to meet, but he ended up canceling. All the Jaws people ended up canceling, but
Hmm.
and he was on my list, but he was $140. So I saved there. And the people would complain, when somebody cancels, but I'm kind of like, oh, that just means I can possibly move somebody up.
Right.
That's my mindset on it. So my top person I wanted to meet was Tracy Savage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's a sweetheart. I know she's been on your show a few times. Did she hit? She's
five.
probably hit the 5 mark, right?
She fit the 5 mark last
Yeah.
year.
Nice.
Yeah. Tracy recognized me the moment she saw me.
Yeah.
And she came over and she gave me a hug. And she even allowed me to give her a kiss on the cheek. I asked her, of course.
Yeah.
I said, I've been waiting since 1982 to do that. But she was very professional, very polite. I forget $140 on Richard Dreyfuss. I must have spent that on Tracy's table because I think
Yeah.
I bought like 3 pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as a token of appreciation, she signed a Friday the 13th Part 3 script for free.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and I did something I'd never done before. I'd never done photo ops before, but I thought I'm going to do one with Tracy Savage. I did one with her and I did one with Suzanne Snyder
Mhm.
since she was there for the Killer
Suzanne
Clown
is another
Party.
one who's very friendly. Yeah.
Yeah. But, and then plus I was able to pay for that prior to the event. So I could take care of the visa and everything. So
Right. Right.
yeah. But Tracy was wonderful to meet. And I even like Lisa Langlois, she was studying some scripts because she had a couple of roles come up. But I always rent a car and she drives. And I got us a couple rooms at the Days Inn, but they weren't available for some weird reason. So we got upgraded to the Hilton.
Hmm.
So Lisa was going to spend the weekend studying the script because she was going to go off to Ottawa to film a movie
Yeah.
uh, early in the week. So this would give us time to do some hangout. But she did pop by the event on Saturday because she was a guest there the previous year, and uh, promoters like her. She popped by, and I introduced her to Tracy, and they got along really well. And but but Tracy was wonderful to meet, and
Yeah, she
Susan's
is.
yeah.
Hmm.
Now Suzanne Snyder was interesting. I've never had her on the show, but here's the story with her. I met her, and I said I'd do a photo op with her too. I figured, I'm going to meet the two nicest looking women there for photo op. The line for the Killer Clowns photo op was big
Hmm.
because they had two of the Killer Clowns there that were going to be in costume. Plus, Grant Kramer was there and Suzanne Snyder. Going back to the pie thing, I met Suzanne Snyder and there was this beautiful background, like real bizarre Killer Clowns type background. And she says to me, she says, Greg, um, do you want gun, club, or pie?
Hi.
I said, well, obviously for me, it's got to be pie.
Right. Right.
She had like a fake pie. It looks like she's going to smash me with it. And I thought, how ironic. So anyway, that turned out, actually, I got them right here. I should show this to you just a minute because I think this was a great photo op. This was just a great photo op. Did you get to do many conventions this year?
No, not this year. I haven't done any. I think I've only done maybe three in my life.
Oh, you got to get on those.
I have to say, I did get to meet. It wasn't a convention. It was at a film festival. I got to meet and share a stage with Heather Langenkamp and Amanda Wiss, and they're very kind. I have to say, going in, I was excited about meeting Heather. Like I said, who was very nice, but it was Amanda who I didn't expect to be the sweetheart and the fun wild child of the two. So one of my bragging rights, I think my favorite bragging rights as being a horror fan my entire life was at this horror film festival. I got to hang out with Heather and Amanda for the weekend, and it was exciting. I got to share a stage with Heather Langenkamp where she introduced me by name. So I have this video. Heather Langenkamp introduced me by name where I went up and I presented an award to a filmmaker. And then when we were finished and we were saying goodbye, Amanda gave me a hug and she kissed me. And so I thought, wow, Amanda was just kissed me. What do I do? Well, I kissed her back. It wasn't on the mouth. It was a nice cheek kiss, like how you did with Tracy. But so I was watching an episode of Cheers, and I'm sure a lot of horror fans know, if especially Nightmare on Elm Street fans know, Amanda was a recurring character on Cheers. She played Beth, and she always laughs as she plays Beth. But um, she kissed Woody Harrelson in one of the episodes. Who played Woody, who was her characters. They were boyfriend and girlfriend from on the show in the past. So my bragging right is not only did I get kissed by Amanda Wiss, but I also got kissed by a woman who also kissed Woody Harrelson. So that's one of my bragging rights Woody Harrelson and I shared. Have a common denominator that we both kissed and have been kissed by. So that's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
And I sang the theme song to just the 10 of us with Heather Camp as we were driving around Georgia. That was fun.
I've had Amanda on here with the director of The Id way
Yeah.
back years ago. I've never been able to get her back on here.
Yeah. Well, my understanding is she doesn't do podcasts anymore. I don't, not to say she won't start doing them again, but I think she's busy with other things because I didn't ask her to be on mine, but I was told before I asked her that probably shouldn't ask her because she doesn't do podcasts, at
You
least at that
see,
time.
that's what gets me, It's like because generally when I do cons, I like to support the people that's done my
Yeah,
show.
right.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep. But anyway, there's a signed script by Tracy Savage.
nice. Obviously, that's from part three, correct?
Yeah, I've got a
I,
signed one of part one from Adrian King, and I've
yeah,
got a signed one of part of The Exorcist by Eileen Dietz.
nice. Now,
You know,
does this script that you have in your hand, does that have the wine bottle scene with Shelley and Vera?
I don't know. I haven't read it
Oh,
yet.
you haven't read it. I can't remember if I talked about this with you before or not, but did you know that it might be in that screenplay there that you have?
Hmm.
Vera's original death was written to be much more elaborate than just the harpoon to the eye. Yeah, and the screenplay, I believe that the one that you have there, the original version had her going in the water to get the wallet, where she had to go underwater, and it was supposed to be like some point of view shots from underwater of Vera, where she comes up and there's Jason with the harpoon, and she knows pretty much what's coming. So she keeps going under the water to kind of like swim away and get away from him. And every time she comes up, he's there. But there's this whole underwater sequence that was planned for Vera, and then obviously she comes up and she ultimately gets it in the eye. But they cut it to short to where she's literally only at like shin depth water. And sorry, I dropped your wallet. Hey, what are you doing? I'll cut that out. It ain't funny. Boom. And that was the version we got. But I would love to see the screenplay. If it's there, let me know. I would love to see it. Maybe take a picture and send it to me because that sounds like a cool thing to read. If it's
Yeah,
true, it could be an urban legend.
I'll have to read through it. But Tracy Savage, it was hard just to go with one picture, so I got that one.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
signed that.
yeah. She is very attractive. She's very cute and she's bubbly. I'm a huge Little House on the Prairie fan, so when I watch the early seasons, she's Christy on Little House on the Prairie.
Yep,
Yeah,
yeah. And so it was. I spent some money on her table, so
yeah. It's
yeah.
worth it when it's somebody that you admire a lot.
Yeah, and I was there all 3 days at the VIP, so I saw her all 3 days. But um, I did one little video with her. But I got this one of Suzanne Snyder from Weird
Yeah.
Science.
I see Suzanne and I just think 80s. 80s babe.
Yeah, well, that was a great picture
Yeah.
of her from that. And of course, I met Danielle Harris again. Watching her and Scout Taylor Compton go back and forth with each other, like
Yeah.
I got that signed.
Nice.
you know. So watching them go back. Now they did their podcast there, but I wasn't there for it because I didn't know I was going to still be there Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I met Christina Elise. I
Yeah.
met Tom Savini as well. I got him to sign my Friday the 13th, the final chapter
Nice. Hold on to
Blu-ray.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got Tracy to sign also my part three because I got a few of my box set Fridays signed. Warrington Gillette, I met again. Warrington's always, I know there's controversy between he and
Yeah.
Dash, but
Who was Jason? Yeah.
mhm. I'll say one thing, he's a great one to meet
Yeah.
because he's very engaging.
Amy Steele
Very,
was great to me too. I had a moment with Amy Steele in a stairwell at the
hmm.
hotel where the convention was at that we were
Did you
at.
come around the corner and she kick you in the nuts?
No, no, there's no chainsaw or pitchforks or pissing or rats or anything like that involved. It was just a nice exchange of pleasantries between the two of us in a private moment, and she was very sweet.
I met Amy at Frightmare in the Falls, but I think the one that made the biggest impression on me from part two was Laura Marie Taylor.
Yeah, she's been on my show. She's
I
cool. She,
love Laura Marie
we
Taylor.
wore our underwear together on the Terror Express. She had her brown satins, and I had my red. I think they were Hanes or something like that. But we had a little underwear party.
There
She's
you
fun.
go.
She's fun.
I
Yeah,
met Chuck.
Chuck. Yes,
He just got come on my show again for the second time not too long ago. He
nice.
wrote heavy shit on it. I asked him if the Marriott where he was staying, if they provided an outhouse with a moon, and he said no, he's gonna have to find another place to smoke his joints. I met C.J. Graham.
Yeah,
That's the second time I met him.
I've met CJ in person. I didn't realize how tall he was until I was standing next to him, and I felt like I was like 7 years old and I could barely hit 4 feet tall.
Now, this woman had the longest lineup of everybody, Shawnee Smith.
Okay, yeah, like her. I like her in the Blob.
Well, here's the funny thing. When I met her, I said to her, I said, "You're in one of my favorite John Candy movies. Who's Harry Crumb?"
Yeah,
And I said to her, I said, in another universe, what do you think it would be like if Harry Crumb was investigating the Saw murders?
hmm.
And that stumped her, and she stopped. She thought about that. She said it would have to be John playing the role. And I said, yeah. She wrote that down on a post-it note because she
Yeah,
was just amused by that little combination, you
yeah,
know? Because not only would Harry Crumb solve it, but he'd solve it totally by fucking accident. Now, I did not meet Eli Roth because the combination and everything would have been almost $200. And they had a major Thanksgiving reunion there. But I decided to meet the two cute girls they had there. So I met Jenna Warren, whom
yeah.
I introduced to Monty Python and the Holy Grail while I was at her table. And I met Karen Cleach.
No, nope, can't see it.
Oh,
There, your chroma key is kind of taking it out. I can kind of see it a little bit. Is that from Thanksgiving? The
yeah.
movie Thanksgiving? Okay, okay, the one that got cooked alive. All right, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I asked her where she was during, because our Thanksgiving is set at a different time.
Yeah,
So I asked her where she was during her Thanksgiving. I said, Skittles did not go out and get a turkey because I was told you were coming. And I met Grant Kramer. I got this shot of him.
yeah, I've met him. He's nice.
Well, I
He's
had,
aged. He's aged very well.
well, he'd also, because I'd interviewed a couple people from Willy's Wonderland, and he was the weasel in that and one of the producers. And I talked to him a lot about Willy's Wonderland. And I'd like to get him on the show. And I met Scout Taylor Compton. I wasn't going to meet her because I'm not a fan of her Laurie Strode,
I'm not either.
but I was amused of how well like she and Danielle Harris was getting on. So I
Yeah,
got that shot of her.
nice.
That was the second time she was at Frightmare in the Falls, but I decided to meet her. Now here's my photo op with Tracy Savage.
Ah, nice picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked with her on 13 Fanboy, and we
Hmm.
had some time alone together when we were walking on location, and she was talking to me, and she said her Wikipedia said that she was born and raised in Ann Arbor, Michigan, which I lived 5 minutes from Ann Arbor, Michigan at the time. So that was really cool to talk to her about the big dick. And to anyone listening to this episode, if you're familiar with Ann Arbor and you know what the big dick is, I don't have to really go into detail about it, but she thought that was amusing. But she clarified Wikipedia has it wrong. She only went to college for journalism in Ann Arbor. She just not born and raised there. She showed me. I don't. I'm on my camera is facing right now, but she showed me. She goes, this is Ann Arbor. She wasn't born here. She was over here in the thumbs where she was born and raised. I think she got Bad Axe. Maybe is that over here? I have to look at it, but she's somewhere in the thumb here is where she was born. She was born in Michigan, but not Ann Arbor. So whoever updated Wikipedia did not do that right. I heard it
No.
right from her lips, so I know it's true.
And of course, this was my photo shoot with Suzanne Snyder.
Yeah, very cool. And that's the background you're talking about, nice and
Yeah.
colorful. Yeah, that's cool.
So, yeah, she said Club Gunner Pie. So I was like, I asked her if she got that pie from Spirit Halloween because I know they had them,
Yeah.
but she said it was sent to her. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
nice.
So, so I had fun at that, and I didn't spend too much money, and I had a good week there, So it wasn't too bad. I don't. I'm hoping to do some cons next year if I can scramble some money together and make some savings, but
Yeah.
nonetheless. Tracy was wonderful to meet, though. So
Yeah.
did a
Yeah.
little
I agree.
video with her.
I
Yeah,
agree. Yeah, she was wonderful.
yeah.
Now,
And
she's not still not accepting my friend request on Facebook.
you gotta get at her about that.
Now, you know Rick and Paul. I'm sure I've talked to you about them before. We were all together. We all met Tracy together, and we all lived together. She accepted their friend requests, so I don't know. Maybe I always tease them and said maybe I said something that really annoyed her and pissed her off at me or something. I don't know, but maybe
Well,
she didn't see it. Maybe she's reached her limit. I don't know, but she did not accept my friend request. So Tracy, why have you not? Did I do something that pissed you off? If I did, I apologize. Accept my friend request.
I
Come
don't
on, Terror
know.
Express. I'll reopen it for you. Promote anything.
I don't know. I know I'm slowly trying to pull away from my animosity with 13 Fanboy. I still don't I didn't even bring it up to CJ Graham. You know, I, although it's interesting, I had Lar Park Lincoln on here last December.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart too.
Well, Lar Park Lincoln knew a little bit about my situation with the thing, and she did the Doubtfire challenge, but um, she said to me, here's her thing. She gave me the contact info for Terry Kaiser, and her response was, "Now you can go and stalk him." So she does not buy the Judy Aronson thing.
Hmm.
But and I never did get Terry on here. I called him. But it was right at the time where I was being scheduled for my retina operation because he asked
Yeah.
me a lot about my eye condition. The thing is, he doesn't have Zoom.
Hmm.
So,
I would like to get Terry on too because not only did he do, Weekend at Bernie's and New Blood, he was also in another one of my all-time favorite sitcoms, Three's Company.
well,
Do
I
you
thought you were
remember
going to
this?
say Mannequin too.
Oh, yeah, with his mole right here.
Yeah,
Count
yeah,
was Count Strutzel
yeah.
and Mannequin too. Yeah, no, I didn't link him to that. I mean, I knew he was in it, but he was in Three's Company. He played a food critic, I believe, and he Jack made the food too hot, and Janet was stuck eating it with Terry Kaiser's character, and then that was a funny moment. But yeah, Count Strutzel. No, no, you
Yeah.
move, you don't move, you move. Why you? What you look at? So they're
I've been trying to get him booked on here. I have his phone and email, but um, um, it hasn't happened yet. But I know when I had Lara on here, I really tormented her because um, I produced a little jar of Nutella on the Zoom,
Yeah, yeah.
and she
Uh,
goes, "Oh, you're awful! You're
I
torturing me."
I cannot look at Nutella and not think of Lar.
Exactly. I can't either.
Yeah. That she did that video. I don't know if you've seen it. She did a video where she was eating a Nutella and it was gone. And just wait, just I don't know, it was funny. She threw the empty jar and it was very funny. It was like very comedic the way she did it.
Yeah.
But if you looked at IMDb, they have contact information for celebrities. That's one way you could ask them on. So maybe Terry could be contacted through IMDb. Go look at the contact information there.
I don't know.
That's
Don't
why
you
I'm
have to be on
thinking about reaching
Prime?
out to Dee Wallace about forwarding The Last Stud. I was thinking about reaching out to her contact information on IMDb. Maybe I'd get a response back. When the writer strike was going on, I reached out to Fran Drescher, who was the head of the SAG-AFTRA, and I did a lot of reaching out through IMDb, and I because I wanted to interview actors to talk about the strike. and I had a lot of people lined up, but then I got a an email that per contract of the writer's strike, actors were supposed to not be talking about it. So I had to do some research to find that out. So I actually canceled all of the interviews that I had lined up for that because I didn't want to get anybody in trouble with SAG-AFTRA.
Yeah.
But there is
Uh,
that IMDb contact information. You can look and see if maybe Derry has information on there that you can reach out
I
there.
got an email address and I got a phone number, and I did call him on that. Actually, I phoned and left a message, and he called me. You
Yeah,
know, but
that's cool.
but yeah, he didn't accuse me of stalking him though. So
Well, that's good.
I will never let Judy Aronson off the hook for that.
I know.
I'm very, very, very upset with. And what's interesting, I'm not telling anybody not to be friends with her, but I do know that, Tom Matthews, Adam Marcus, various others have come to my aid on that, you know. So, like, Ted White gave two wonderful interviews, and I was glad I got a signed hockey mask by him, but
Yeah.
Ted will always be my favorite Jason. But he spoke so highly of Judy, so I don't know what went wrong. And I know they had a Friday the 13th, the final chapter reunion at Frightmare in the Falls last year because I met Kimberly Beck, I met the twins, I met Eric Janderson, who I'm glad I met when I did.
Got him when you did. Yeah, good time.
He was never on the show, but I did meet him. And I met Corey Feldman, who was weird.
I worked with Corey Feldman. I thought he was pretty freaking funny. I got to meet him as his wife and his son. Very, very professional on set.
Me and the one of the people that was working with Lisa and I were at the Marriott. We're having a drink, and we were just kind of like we're talking, and we were distracted. There was Corey talking to one, I don't know whether it was his driver. They were by the front doors, and he was being very articulate, you know. And then all of a sudden, he doesn't walk out the door, he dashes out the door like he's some superhero about to leap into his limo.
Hmm.
And Justin and I just kind of looked at each other like, fuck, did we just watch? You know? But I met him, and again, he was an expensive one, but I met him, and his signature is on that. But there was no Judy Aronson, and I'm going to take credit as to why she wasn't there. And it's sad because I like her in Friday the 13th, the final chapter, and had people, and I'll say this to Debbie Sue, had they just communicated with me, this could have been cleared up. Because when you got even Lar Park Lincoln's giving me contact info for Terry Kaiser and then jokingly saying, and she says this right in the interview, so you can go stalk him too. Like people even associated with 13 Fanboy know I'm not guilty of that. You know, I feel bad it happened. Even Vernon Wells I've had on here a couple times. I got his contact card. He gave me his business card, and we're involved in a movie together called Social Distance. He spoke highly of Judy.
Hmm.
So I feel bad that didn't happen.
Well, I can't speak as to Judy's actions or reasons or anything like that. My working relationship with her was she was very very professional. She was very involved on set. She was very friendly. She was very very approachable. So I won't say Judy's a friend, but all of my interactions with her have always been very pleasant. So I can't speak
And
of
I'm
her.
not going to ask you to speak badly
Yeah,
of her.
yeah,
Same with Debbie Sue. I'm not asking anybody not to be friends with her. But I'll tell you one thing, as far as Debbie Sue goes, Melanie Kinnaman reached out to me and asked if there was a way I could get her into Frightmare in the Falls.
Yeah.
She said that she and Tiffany Helm wanted to do it so I could meet them.
I love Tiffany Helm.
Well,
She is
they
sweet.
they they didn't get in, but obviously because they had too many people. But it's interesting, again, Melanie's worked with Debbie Sue, and Melanie, like obviously Melanie doesn't see me as a stalker either, or she wouldn't be reaching out to me to ask for contact info on a convention. And Tiffany's been back on here, so I'm not as critical about 13 Fanboy as I was, but I still feel the wounds, you know.
Hmm.
I still feel the wounds. And I think it could have been handled a lot better than it was. I'm glad you and I have made peace, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but
like I said, Judy Aronson's not a friend of mine. She's an acquaintance that I've worked with, and everything was very pleasant with her. But Deborah is a very close personal friend to mine, and I
and I'm not telling you not to.
no, I know you're not. I think my point is I'm not comfortable discussing your situation with 13 Fanboy and what may or may not have happened. I mean, I know it was a campaign driven project that she was working on, and there were perks that people paid for. And I guess my question to you, if we're going to have this discussion, is did you I know you paid for perks. Is there any perks that you paid for that you did not get?
Yeah, but
You
I'm
got
not
you
gonna.
got all the perks that you paid for, I assume.
No,
You didn't
but
get. Oh,
that's okay. I
yeah.
don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want anything. I'm kind of with Carrie Yates on that right now, because Carrie Yates did not send obviously we know Orlando did, but
Right, right. Yeah.
Carrie
The
Yates got
screenshots.
blamed,
The famous screenshots, yeah.
Carrie Yates got blamed, and I could tell you Carrie Yates had nothing to do with it, but I don't want anything more from it. My name's on it, that's fine. I've got a nice few good connections from it, and that's fine. Uh, but
What perks? And I'm curious, what perks did you not get? Were there perks that you just said you didn't want, or are they perks you just never got?
never got, but I'm not going to bring them up because I don't want you to say anything.
Oh, I'm not gonna. I mean, I don't even know who. I don't even remember who the Indigo campaign
I
creator
just know
was.
I was a co-producer, so whatever was on that, but but I just don't care anymore, Like slowly as the years, like I said, I haven't talked about it a lot this year compared to say last year or the year before, so I'm slowly kind of moving on, but
Very slow.
you know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like, if they have a Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning reunion at Frightmare, like I said, this year will probably be my last year for Frightmare in the Falls. But I'm like, Melanie Kinnaman would be hard for me to turn down,
Yeah. And I
I
was
don't,
fortunate. I was fortunate because they had one year where I lived. It was only 20 minutes away. They had a part 5 reunion. That's where and Carol Locketel had been on my podcast with Ron Sloan together, but to meet them in person, and now that Carol's gone, that was a very memorable experience that I will always cherish, that I got to meet Carol Locketel and have her on my podcast twice. So she was so funny and so sweet. And I got my pictures, I got my memories, and she was something else. One of the best that I got to meet.
did you eat her slop?
I made her slop a label.
I know I got one.
Yeah, that's my design.
I got one.
Yeah. Yeah,
That was great.
Ron was very very tickled by that. And I'm very tickled that he has that at his table at his conventions. That tickles me pink. That
Yeah.
I have the small contribution into the horror world that has made it out there into the conventions. That's really cool.
But I mean, I find it hard to turn Melanie down if she was booked at Frightmare in the Falls. My big
Yeah.
question is, will she be there with or without the pink sweater, you
Well,
know?
right. Depends on if it's missing or found. But Melanie was one of the very few celebrities that I got to meet that I got starstruck with, and I didn't talk much because I was so afraid of saying something stupid. So she probably thought that I wasn't really that interested in being around her, but it was just the opposite. If I ever met her again, I would try to feel a little more comfortable. Now I had met Adrienne King, who
I've
was
met Adrian
she
King.
was
Yeah.
sweet, and I was nervous, but I talked with her. But part five has always been one of my favorites, and I watch it more than any of the other parts, even more than part three, which is my number one favorite horror movie of all time. It's not just in the franchise, but so to see Melanie Kinnaman in person, uh, she's the one that starstruck me. She's the one that it was hard to get the words out, and I was very introverted with her because I was so afraid of saying something stupid like I did with Laura Park Lincoln on the set of Fanboy.
Yeah,
I
well,
I embarrassed myself with her on that one.
Lara's sense of humor, though, is something else. She's another one, you know. Lara wants to go but to Frightmare in the Falls again, and I'm kind of like, is this my last time? Thing is, when I land in Toronto, then renting a car and getting a hotel down there, it's extra expenses, but you know, but I don't know. Like I'm at that point now, like I don't think I know I said years ago. I said if I seen Debbie Sue or Judy at one of these cons, I would confront them, but I don't think I would now
No, you don't want to do
because
that.
well, I'm kind of at that point now where it's like most people know I'm not guilty. And quite frankly, I don't want to ruin things for anybody else that wants to meet them.
Yeah, and I know you and I have had this conversation in private, and what I told I won't bring it up here, but what I told you in the conversation, hopefully you remember that's still my advice. That's
You
I know that was a
know,
couple of years ago. I hopefully soon you can just move past it and it won't be a um part of your conversations with people who are acquainted or related to them in any meeting context or project context that they've had.
yeah, but I don't know. I would like to do Fan Expo. I almost considered doing Fan Expo, but John Cleese canceled. I would have gladly gone to meet John Cleese. Shit, that would have been something.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I'm going to see what happens this year or next
I
year.
would have to go with the fake arm dismemberment and just tell him it's just a flesh wound.
It's just a flesh
Just a
wound.
flesh wound.
Yep, it's just a flesh wound. But I have fun at these, and I've made a few memories. But but no, if they have a part five reunion there next year, like I think I've kind of moved past that because I don't want, especially since the promoters know me, I don't want any problem like that. So I don't think I would do anything, but that doesn't mean it's healed, but
All right.
yeah. But anyway, I've had some fun with that. If I meet Lars, I'm gonna bring her a jar of Nutella though. I mean,
Yeah, that was another fun moment that I had with Laura on set was giving her that bottle of Nutella, and that bottle of Nutella got me a nice hug. So that was worth it. I think I got like the $12 bottle, and it was the big one too. It was like
I've
the
never
top was so
seen them
big
that.
you could fist this jar. It was so big.
Yeah. No, oh, what was I going to say? When you do the cons, is there do you budget yourself or do you how do you go about it?
I I take cash. I leave my credits and my debit cards at home or in my hotel room because there's always gonna be that one thing that's like, fuck, I need to get this. I didn't know it was gonna be here. Let me go get my card. But I try not to take anything but cash with me, and then once that cash is gone, I'm done.
Here's the problem I found with that is, and I found this out with Danielle Harris, and I finally figured out why it's an issue. where I'm Canadian and she's American, and I found this out even when I was a chiller. The card won't work.
Hmm.
My card got declined because I'm Canadian. It's
Hmm.
Canadian, yeah. So, because I find that the more cash I keep saved, the more I can stretch it out.
Somebody was just, not to be eerie or anything, but somebody was just walking behind me. I can literally hear somebody walking behind me. I can hear the weight of their feet pressing down on the floorboard of the floor of my kitchen. I'm in my kitchen right now, or not my kitchen, my dining room. But I turn around and there's
Well,
nobody
maybe
there.
it's one of your kitty cats,
Hmm.
you
I do have a
know?
35-pound cat named Peanut Butter. It could very well have been him. He's
There
he's
you
a
go.
badass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, now are we going to see this being made into a movie?
No, probably not. I wouldn't expect it to go there, but not that I've given it much thought. But Michael Flanagan would be an amazing director, or
Yeah.
Fede Alvarez would be. But no, it probably won't ever get that far. But
Who else have you sent this to?
um, I fans of horror. I've had a lot of people want an autographed copy, so I do have a PayPal account and a Cash App where, and I don't sign it and send it out for more than what you can get on Amazon for. I don't think my signature is worth monetizing like that. But I just send it out for the cost of what I pay for the author copy and shipping. But I'll sign them and send them out. I put it on Facebook right now. I don't have any more bitch left, but I do have some Kisses and Carnage, and I have some Son of a Bitch in paperback that are available for autographed copies for the same price as pretty much what you see on Amazon.
Did someone to Lara with a complimentary jar of Nutella?
Lar probably doesn't even remember who I am. She might remember the Nutella, but she probably
You
doesn't
don't think
remember
she
me.
remembers you?
I don't think she remembers me now. I wasn't that. I'm an introvert, like I mentioned earlier. I'm not really. I don't really do anything memorable with my actions or my words when I meet someone. I'm very, very withdrawn and very neutral in what we, because I try to keep it professional too. We were making a movie. But she probably would remember me. If she did, she wouldn't remember me by name. She'd remember me as the Nutella guy, which is fine.
Well, I'm going to tell you, when I interviewed her, I brought you up and I brought up
Oh yeah,
some of the stories of Jennifer Bonko.
oh yeah, that was fun.
She said that is not a place you want to be, is in a car with Jennifer and her dad.
Yeah, yeah, and that's where I was. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, driving around New Mexico with the broken GPS. Jennifer is just gabbing, 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 and I'm thinking, I hope you don't know we're lost because we are. Oh.
Yeah,
I'm from Detroit. I'm not used to using a volcano as a um a source of road. What's that called? Like a familiar sign where you're supposed to turn left or right. There's a billboard. Let's turn right. Landmark landmark. I'm not used to using a volcano as a landmark. So I'm used to the city where it's just buildings and skyscrapers and skylines of concrete and metal, not burnt down trees. And it's beautiful. New Mexico's beautiful, but you don't want to be lost at 3 a.m. with Jennifer Banco. You don't want to be lost at any time with the talent.
yeah, hearing Lar talk about that.
Mm-hmm. You have to send me the link to that episode. I'd like to listen to that conversation.
Yeah, it was pretty amusing, you know. Um, so nonetheless, I even asked Lar, I said, I want to know, do you ever are you gonna start signing the pictures of you underneath the Christmas tree with your kids laughing at you? Because there was a picture of her where she getting her Christmas tree down off the out of the attic.
Hmm.
And I guess she tripped and fell and the tree landed on her, and you just see her feet underneath her. Kids are
Oh
laughing at
no.
her.
Uh, I hope they asked her if she was okay before they started laughing at her.
We talked about it. She finds it amusing that there's a picture of it, but she said, "Yeah." I said, "Are you going to sign those on our table on your table?" She said, "No."
She should at least share it.
Oh, it's on. I think it's on her Facebook.
Okay, I'll have to look. I'll have
Yeah,
to-
because I certainly found it amusing. But have you seen any horror movies this year you liked?
I just watched Deliverance on Netflix. That was decent. It's hard for me to find a possession movie that's shocking because they're just not shocking. I mean,
You
unless
mean
they're over
the
the.
Deliverance with Burt Reynolds?
No, it was a new movie. It had Glenn Close in it,
Okay.
but it was a possession movie. But like I said, unless it's over the top, like Night of the Demons, where they're deliberately graphic, like the one with what's his name from Gladiator,
Russell Crowe?
Russell Crowe. Yeah, he's done a couple possession
Yeah,
movies.
I didn't
I
see
I
the
thought they were very tropey.
um let me see which one. The Substance is really good.
The Substance I enjoyed a lot. That was a huge throwback to 80s for me. It was like a 80s monster movie. I don't want to spoil anything, but if you love
David
listeners, if you love
Cronenberg,
80s monster movies, it was to me it was like a mix of like Cronenberg
David
and
Lynch.
um like The Fly met um Death Becomes Her. It was almost like a hybrid of those two, but with a modern monster movie twist on it. It was really fun. I like that one a lot. Yes. So that to
I
answer your
think,
question, that one was probably one. I tried to watch Cuckoo and I couldn't get into it.
are you kidding
I
me?
could not get into it.
Oh,
I should try again, but
I
oh,
did enjoy that.
don't let
I
go. Halle Berry was surprisingly better than I thought it was going to be. That was really good. I like that one.
I didn't see that one,
Don't
but
let go was good, but I couldn't get into Smile. I don't know if I want to try Smile 2 or not.
really?
Yeah,
I
I
was actually surprised how much. Well, Smile 2 was a very different film.
yeah, I might try it. Then I'm looking forward to Terrifier 3. I do like over the top overkill.
That's another thing too, because I've had David Howard Thornton on the show, and I've had
Yeah,
Michael Levy on the show. Um, so I've had them on,
yeah,
but I mean, I'm like, and I met them at Frightmare. Well, I didn't meet Michael Levy, but I met Damien Leone and I met David Howard Thornton and the two females in there. This is another thing too, because when I meet like I always go by body language though too, but I always ask if I can put my arm around them in a photo or whatever. I
yeah,
always do
yeah.
that.
I think that's a respectful thing to do.
Yeah. One of the things I remember about, I can't think of her name, but the woman that was upside down being sawn.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I remember about her when I met her was I asked her if I could hug her in the photo, and she thanked me for asking, and she allowed me to do it. But I remember her thanking me for asking.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool, you
yeah,
know. But but I mean, I would love to meet the little pale girl,
yeah. She
Amelia.
was she was creepy. She was a good fit with Art.
Actually, you know what? I found her more creepy than Art the Clown, to be honest.
I didn't see her in the trailer for the third
She's not in
Terrifier.
the third one.
Wow. I'm hoping that there's a fourth. I'm sure there will be a
Though
fourth
there's going to
Terrifier,
be a
especially
fourth one,
since
yes.
the third one was so successful. But I would love to be a Valentine Day Terrifier because now we have two Halloween movies. We have the Christmas. Let's just do the holidays. We haven't had a good Valentine movie since Valentine or My Bloody Valentine. Give us a Terrifier Valentine movie. That's what I want.
Yeah. But no, the little pale girl's not in the third. That was a kind of a downer for me. I would go meet her at a con if she was at one.
Yeah.
And another one I would like to meet is Lauren Lavira. as the she wasn't in the first one, but she's the heroine in the second and third one.
Yeah.
I like her. And I guess she was a stunt woman before being an actress. I'm like, okay, I can kind of see that.
Hmm.
So people like that could kind of draw me back to Frightmare in the Falls. It's nothing that Frightmare in the Falls has done wrong. It's just the travel, you know?
Yeah. Did you know Adrienne King did stunts for Ghostbusters?
Oh, did she?
Uh-huh. She's a stunt woman in Ghostbusters. She said she made more off of that, I think she said, than all of Friday the 13th with its residuals.
Who was she doing stunts for?
I don't remember. I don't know what part of it was, but I'm pretty sure she said it was Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters.
I'd laugh if she was doing stunts for Rick Moranis running the street.
She's the key master.
Yeah. Oh my. I did not know that. I've never had anybody on from Ghostbusters. I've been trying, but it's you know, but they have they've kind of lost a sense of what that franchise was about because I didn't mind the last one, but I find it's becoming too much of a Stranger Things kind of thing. And
Yeah.
they're losing what made Ghostbusters special. And it was the combination of horror and comedy, hence why they had Bill Murray, and who
Mhm.
originally was supposed to be John Belushi before he passed, but Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis. I mean, they weren't there just for the fun of it. It was there as part of the tone of the movie, and I
Right.
think that's getting lost.
Yeah. I had a hard time finishing the Ghostbusters. It was the Ice Age or something.
Yeah,
I watched it, but I had a really hard time staying focused on it. It's like I wanted to keep picking up my phone and checking Facebook and my email and all that stuff. That's where my focus was. It was hard to concentrate on the movie because it didn't hold my attention. And I
yeah,
think that's part of it. It didn't have the magic.
yeah, and they're losing that, and
Yeah.
but I did love X. I loved Pearl, and I enjoyed Maxine.
Yeah.
All
I think
very
my
good.
favorite was X out of the three.
I
Then
love
Maxine and then
X.
Pearl.
I love. Well, Mia Goth should have been Oscar nominated for
Well,
Pearl.
her monologue in Pearl was genius. I don't know if that was on the fly or if that was scripted, but her delivery of that was phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'll say it,
that's something that they should be doing in theater class. They should be doing that monologue in theater class.
and I'll say it. I will say if I ever meet Jamie Kennedy, I'm going to bring this up. Mia Goth in X broke all of the Scream rules and survived.
And she did.
She broke all the rules. And
She
after
even
see,
she even added a couple new rules and broke them too, like the final girl killing somebody
well, what's
deliberately as a
funny, you see her in Infinity Pool, and it's like, fuck, she's scary.
yeah.
She's freaking scary. I'd be intimidated to meet her. Like I can't see her being normal for some strange reason. I can't see her being normal. But I did see Cuckoo. I enjoyed it. I saw a Canadian one called Seeds.
I didn't see that
Um,
one.
yeah, and I saw this was a horror comedy, but they said it was a cross between it was Doctor Strangelove meets Night of the Living Dead called Rumors.
Hmm.
Yeah, Kate Blanchett is in it. That was good. I saw that in Toronto. Um, Otherwise, I don't know what's going on. I don't like what they did with the last three Halloween movies. I did not like what they did with Ends, you know?
Yeah, I kind of like. I'm one of those rare people who liked Halloween Ends. Everyone's comparing it to a new beginning of the Friday the 13th franchise, but I thought it was. I mean, it had its moments that were really cheesy and over the top for a Halloween movie, but I thought it was good. I liked it. I liked it better than Halloween Kills. That one was the one that disappointed me. That was the one that I couldn't. I won't watch that one again. the whole hospital scene and the whole town going crazy, and with what happened with Tommy, it was just too. I didn't like where they took the characters.
I got to admit, I love what they did with Kyle Richards in it, and then they just totally forgot her and ends
Yeah,
and
she has like a cameo in the last one.
but I
She
like
wasn't
what
even at
they
the very end when they were taking Michael into to finally destroy him in the
I
compound
wish they
place.
did what they
She wasn't
originally
even in the
going.
crowd. She should have at
Yeah.
least been in that crowd.
I wish they did. Like, I wish they did what they were originally going to do. Have them all take place the same night. Have the third one end at dawn.
Yeah,
I wish they had done that.
yeah.
Um, and another big mistake they did, and this was glaring when I watch Halloween Kills. They should have had a scene, at least one scene, between Jamie Lee Curtis and Charles Sapia or Cypers.
Yeah.
Never happened. I'm like, that was a glaring omission.
And that kind of bothered me too, because you had Charles. He was the one who got um well, he got killed in the original, the first of the new trilogy, right? I mean, he was killed. There was no way he was going to survive that. How did he survive that? And then you had Jamie's or Laurie's daughter get killed at the end of the was it the end
Yeah,
of the second
that's
one?
another issue I had.
How did she not survive that, but yet Charles Cyphers survived his attack, which was more brutal and more
No. No, you're thinking of the other actor, Charles Sipe.
the guy from the hospital, the cop guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he survived his attack, and his attack
No,
was brutal. He
Charles
was
Cypers was Annie Brackett's father in Halloween, the original
oh,
sheriff.
okay. No, I'm thinking the sheriff. I'm thinking of the guy who was um killed during the reveal that the doctor was actually
Yeah.
crazy. He came
But
back in the second one. He was in the hospital. He had survived his wounds, but then Laurie's daughter is stabbed like Janet Leigh in this psycho shower scene, and she gets killed. How did she not survive if they're going to have the other people survive that? I was pissed
what
that they killed her daughter.
I was pissed too because I'll tell you why. Like
Spoiler alert.
Gordon Green should have never been allowed to continue with this franchise. He just started well with the 2018 one,
Yeah, that
and
was
then
good.
and then it was just like a fuck off to everybody after that because Andy Matichak, who played Jamie Lee's daughter in that film, her character already lost her father. So then they kill off the Judy Greer character. Why?
Right, exactly.
Like, why does she have to lose both parents?
Right.
They never thought about that. They didn't need to kill off the daughters. Like, stop. David, and then when Jamie Lee Curtis comes out and says that a lot of fans are going to hate ends, it's like, why in the world do you want to make a film that fans are going to hate?
And I'm wondering if because when an actor signs a contract, it's whatever they make the movie, and there's always so many revisions and changes to the script. Like even on the fly, the day they're shooting, they can do a rewrite. I wonder if maybe that was what really slaughtered Kills was all these last minute changes that Jamie Lee Curtis might not even known was going to happen until it happened. Like
Yeah,
the script she was offered in the very beginning may not be anything like what they ended up using for filming.
I don't know, but I wasn't happy with like the ending of Kills bothered me
Yeah,
with Judy Greer's character being off because her husband was already off.
yeah.
Let Andy Matichak have one parent, at
Hmm.
least. Let her have one parent. And they don't really address that either. Like David Gordon Green, go back to doing Pineapple Express or whatever else you were doing. Stop. Because I mean, even his Exorcist Believer was a shit show.
It was good up until the point to where Chris went to the girl's bedroom and the whole crucifix attack happened. It fell apart at that moment and never got back to what it could have been. Well, up to that moment, it was a pretty brilliant movie, minus the fact that it
Up,
didn't shock like the original Exorcist.
up to yeah,
But up to
I think
that point was to me was where it just fell to shit. And then it had all these different people standing around doing all these different exorcisms. I didn't quite get that. I mean, I get the religion and there being
Oh, they were trying to check off boxes, and I wish they would
Yeah,
stop
but
stop doing that.
what? So this little girl's in the room, and she's obviously homicidal. She tries to kill Chris with the crucifix. This is this very close knit religious family, and when they go into the house, the family's scattered. This little girl's alone in her room. The parents are who knows where in the kitchen baking a pie or something, and this brother's hiding in the bathroom or something. Why are they all split up? Is there a deleted scene that we're not getting? Because that's not the family that you would expect to be split up during this time. You know what I mean? Doing their own thing in the house like they
Hmm.
are. And then Chris just goes up to the bedroom while the guy that she's with just ends up going exploring the house. It's like that made zero sense to me. And then when she starts to do the exorcism herself, like I renounce the Satan, blah blah blah, and she starts to do this exorcism herself. I thought, yeah, get out, get. That's where it turned sour for me.
And the whole patriarchy argument too. Why write that in?
Mm-hmm.
Because they had Chris McNeil say that, and it's
Yeah,
like when you watch the original film, none of that was in there. You know, the two priests gave their life, had nothing to do with white men or the patriarchy or anything like that. It's like David Gordon Green, keep your fucking politics out of the fucking movie.
now it's isn't it Michael? Um, I just mentioned his name a few minutes ago. Flanagan. Isn't Michael Flanagan supposed to be doing the next? Is it Fede
I
Alvarez who
hope,
did the Alien
I,
Romulus?
I hope so.
They're both of those are two of my two of
Yep.
my favorite directors right now for horror. I think what
Benny
Flanagan did with
Enterprise
Doctor
made
Sleep
Breathe,
was
and I love
brilliant.
that. Made
Which
Don't
one?
Breathe.
Yeah, yeah.
I enjoyed that. I
The,
interviewed,
the 2013 Evil Dead is my favorite in the franchise.
you know what? I probably stand alone in this, but my favorite Evil Dead was Evil Dead Rise.
It was good. I had
Well,
to watch it a couple times. It wasn't as brutal as I thought it. I keep waiting for an unrated version to come out because it didn't seem like it was as
you want me to tell you what it did? Number one, it proved that they don't necessarily have to have it's let's face it, you got a lot of people begging for Robert Englund to play Freddy Krueger again, but it's
yeah,
getting to the point where he's too old. And the same thing can be said about Bruce Campbell as Ash. He can't
yeah,
play forever.
right.
What Evil Dead Rise did was prove that, you know what, we can keep this going.
Right. But I would love to have Mia come back.
I love Jane Levy.
Yes, I do too.
I love Jane Levy.
Yeah.
I loved her in Don't Breathe,
Yeah. But
you know.
for Evil Dead Rise, I'll say they had the most brutal dialogue. Some of the things that she said were just downright barbaric, and that was the fun part of Rise. A mother saying these things to her kids. But then I just wish that the youngest one, the little girl, and I'm not trying to sound like an asshole, but she should have went through a little bit more. She went out through that without a scrape on her. It's like don't spare her
Well,
because she's 7. If you're going to write a 7 or 9 or 10 year old kid in there, do something. Do
I
something.
like the fact it took place in a high rise. It reminded
Yeah,
me of
but they didn't
Demons 2.
monopolize it. They didn't make use of it. It's all in the same apartment on the same floor. They have all these floors. I was thinking like Demons too from the 80s, where they're
Yeah.
locked in this sky rise and it's just all mad havoc breaks loose. That's what I thought we were gonna get, but it wasn't. It was no more excitement than being in the cabin in the woods.
Hmm.
So it's like they had this opportunity and they didn't. But it was still a great movie. Don't get me wrong. I still enjoyed it. The 25 times that I've watched it already.
Yeah, but I enjoyed that. But where was I going with this? You mentioned Jane Levy. But yeah, Jane Levy's somebody I would like to meet at a con. I think I'll tell you somebody else who's starting to do the cons, and she's still fairly active. I'm actually surprised she's being booked at them because it's like you still see her quite often, and that's Catherine Newton.
Hmm.
You're seeing her at a few cons now, and like she was in Freaky, and she was in Abigail, and it's kind of like, and she was in Lisa Frankenstein.
Abigail was a good movie. I had fun with that one.
Yeah,
Better than I thought it was going to be.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
The dance sequence with Newton and the title character was fun. I had fun
yeah,
with that one.
I like
My
Catherine Newton. Yeah.
my battery is at 20%. So
20%?
yeah,
Why?
it's draining quick, and once it hits 20%, it's going to drain really quick, especially being on Zoom. So I might need to wrap it up.
You're
I
supposed to
got
plug it in.
well, it was plugged in, but I had to turn my computer off because it was humming so loud. I didn't want to have a
Maybe
hum
that
in the
was
background.
you.
That was not me. I'm not that windy.
Well, I ask you one more question. Well, I'll ask a
Yeah,
positive 13 fanboy question.
sure.
What was your most cherished memory if you locate one from 13 fanboy?
What do you mean by locate one?
Like, what would be your pinpoint one? Like, if you was to mention what was your top high point from being part of 13 fanboy? Now, that might be a hard one to come up with.
No, I think I mean yeah, I got my hold on a second. Never mind. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, sorry, my battery just flashed. Now I'm at 20%. My I mentioned being lost with Jennifer, that was fun. I mentioned my one-on-one time with Tracy and talking to her, that was fun. But I think it was when Judy Aronson walked in and I went to introduce myself and she already knew who I was. And I said, my name's Jason. She goes, oh, Jason Bradford. So she knew me without knowing me. And I thought that was really exciting that she knew of me before we officially met. That was probably my unforgettable moment. That and Corey Feldman saying, hey, asking me if you should piss on my feet, because when he came up to me at the same time, a production assistant came up to me. Corey says, where's the bathroom? The production assistant says, where do you want this? I don't know why, but I answered the production assistant first. I said, right here. And Corey had asked where the bathroom was. And when I said right here, he says, you want me to piss on your feet? And we laughed about that. So that was pretty cool. And we shared a Coke, and I took I stole a Coke can from the set of 13 fanboy. Sorry. But I took it home and I gave it to my niece because she's a huge Corey Feldman fan. I'm like, Corey Feldman drank out of this Coke can here. So she has it set up in a display in her curio cabinet. So sorry, I did steal a 10-cent can off the set of 13 fanboy.
So your number one moment was not punching Kane Hodder in the nuts?
No, I didn't punch him in the nuts. That wasn't me. I think that was Jason West. That was the other Jason on set.
Oh,
Yeah. But Kane was funny. He had a banana gun. It looked like an uncircumcised. It looked like an uncircumcised penis. He was going around shooting everybody with it.
ah. Well, we must further again showcase
I appreciate
Bitch.
it. I just wanted to say
Yes.
that I took these characters and they're not what you think they are. There's not. I changed the lore of the werewolf and the vampire. I turned them upside down. That's why it says she's not what you think she is. It was inspired by two things: a dream I had about what if vampires monopolized the planet, and humans were the ones that were the terrifying monsters. And if you got bit by a human, you would lose your vampire abilities and you become a human. And then the other inspiration was for this was the old trap, the thorn in the paw of the lion
Yep.
was vicious until the thorn was pulled out. So I took those two things, and that's where I came up with a whole trilogy of novels based on that. So a quick example, like you said, the werewolf can walk in the daylight. You're born a werewolf. You're never human. You die a werewolf. Um, the vampires, they're completely, and again, this isn't a big spoiler to the storyline, but vampires live forever. They're indestructible. The world couldn't explode or implode. They're going to be in the universe just floating around in the nothingness because they're eternal. Nothing can kill them. There's a cool chapter in here called Nights on Titanic, because the vampire didn't want to have anything to do with the world anymore because he was lonely. So he went down. He happened to be on Titanic to go to New York. He went down on the ship, and he lives at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean on the shipwrecked Titanic for like 50 years. So there's a whole chapter of what it's like underwater, 2 miles down, living on Titanic in solitude. That was a fun chapter to write. So yeah, it's a flip upside down lore of all these characters. I keep seeing and hearing things. It's fucking me up. But
Maybe it's
so that's
Jennifer
that's what I did. I
Bongo.
changed I changed everything on characters that you've known.
Maybe it's Jennifer Blanco.
Maybe. Maybe
Maybe
she
it's
came here
Jennifer.
from, I don't know where she's living, but that's a long ride.
I
Long
don't think
drive.
she's on Facebook anymore. Like I
Yeah.
used to have her on there. I used to get her dog updates.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what she's doing.
I know. I know that you mentioned I haven't seen much of her on Facebook either.
Because I used to get very amused with the faces she makes.
Her dog walk, yeah, and her dog walking adventures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the faces she makes.
Yeah. I'll bet
Yeah.
real quick too. There's more than vampires and werewolves in here. There's zombies, there's witches, there's demons, there's genies,
Sasquatch.
there's Bigfoot is the main character in here. Yeah. Imagine what would happen if Bigfoot got bit by a werewolf and turned into a squatchanthrope. So that happens. So
Loch Ness Mott and the Monster.
no Loch Ness monster,
Oh, you forgot that one. What about
but
Troy
if
Elke? Is Troy Elke in
I'm
there?
not giving away anything, son of a bitch. But if you get it, the very last chapter, I wrote it and I sat back and I thought, what the fuck did I just create? That came from my brain. So there's the last chapter of Son of a Bitch really opens up the third book to all kinds of mayhem, and I was like I was actually quite surprised that I came up with some of the stuff that I came up with. It's no AI wrote this book. I wanted everyone to know there's a lot of AI controversy going on right now for book writing. Every single word came from my brain and through my fingertips and onto the computer. No AI.
What about Troy Elke? Is he in here? I mean, he fits right in.
You know what? It's funny that you say that because let me show you this. The dedication on this. Uh, I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
Am I holding it up right?
Yeah.
But yep, Troy's on there.
Yeah, but is
Dedication.
Troy like one of the hairy werewolves, you know? I mean, he does kind of fit in.
Well, I think you could probably hide a werewolf under his beard.
I had Troy on again this year
Yeah,
too.
he's an upstanding guy. I love Troy.
Now he's worked with Debbie Sue this year,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
again,
They're working on.
I'm not gonna ask anybody to turn on Debbie Sue.
Yeah,
Hopefully, maybe I'll find peace there.
yeah. I hope you do.
I hope so. But I'm glad that we're able to do this. And when I'm done this one, I'm gonna order Son of a Bitch,
Hmm?
and I'll have you on again. I'll put you on the roster again next year, and we'll further talk about these. And
Sounds
yeah,
good. Look forward to it.
keep pumping them out. Keep pumping them out. I like the ideas so far. So there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you go turn on your Christmas lights and find your big fat kitty.
Yeah. I will do both. It's a chore, I tell you. Putting up Christmas. I have so much Christmas stuff. It takes me forever to do it. Bits and pieces.
Skittles says he's going to decorate, but he never does. He's over there asleep right now. Skittles is lazy.
He is a decoration in himself.
Skittles is a decoration on himself. He is. Anyway, I'm going to bid you a good night. Thanks for coming on
Good
here
night.
and
Yes. Thank you for having me.
keep me updated. And
Let me
we'll
know what you
keep.
think of Bitch when you finish reading it.
So far, I
And
find it very creative.
I
So,
had fun writing the Titanic scene. There's also a throwback to the Salem witch trials. And there's a throwback to President Ford being assassinated or President Lincoln being assassinated at the Ford Theater the night he was assassinated. And then in the third book, there's going to be some touching on Jack the Ripper and Vlad the
mhm.
Impaler. So just some little tidbits to quench your appetite until you can dive in and read more.
Okay. Are we going to get Troy Elke and Jennifer Bonco in there?
Well, we got Troy in there. I don't have any
Well,
Jennifer in this
we
book,
got
so
to have them
sorry,
both
Jennifer.
in there as one mutated creature.
Mute. Maybe I'll. There's an aquarium of lizards that makes an appearance in the third one. Maybe I'll name some lizards. There's a purpose for the aquarium of lizards. They're a nutritional
It could be a
aspect for one of the
mutated
characters.
creature. It could be a mutated creature, half Troy, half Jennifer.
The
There you
Troy
go.
fur. We'll call it the Troy fur.
The Troyfer.
The Troy fur.
There you go.
Yeah.
Or the Genoki.
Oh, I like that one better. Yeah, the gnocchi. It almost sounds like an Italian food. Can I get a side of gnocchi with extra sauce and cheese, please?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just don't get that beard in there.
There you go.
All right,
All
Bradley.
right. Well, I
Thank
bid
you
you
for
a
having
good,
me.
absolutely. Keep writing, and I'll let you know what I think when I'm done.
Appreciate it. Leave a review on
So
Amazon.
so far, so
Unless you hate
good.
it. If you hate it, don't review it. Just leave it alone.
Well, so far I like it. So
All right, good, good.
I would say, as long as you're keeping me surprised and whatnot, and you seem to be the adding new things. Like I said, the Sasquatch just came up here, so I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, another new thing. So I like
yeah,
that. So
yeah.
yeah,
I'm
so
glad you're enjoying it.
yep, absolutely, absolutely.
Good.
Anyway, I bid you a good night.
Good night to you as
Uh,
well.
absolutely, absolutely. Keep in touch and let me know when your next one's done.
We'll do. We'll do.
All right, take care, man.
All right. Thanks, Greg. You too.
Yep, bye bye.
Bye bye.